Let us come huge.
I'd like to show you something.
I love the chase and the hunt, and I set the pace when I'm running. I always take what I want, and I always give it 100. Don't need a bank, no, I'm funded. Play the game like it's nothing. I'm always thankful for something. Don't take for granted, stay humble. Now wake up! It's time to look at the enemy. Look in the mirror if he is no friend to me. It's not working out, maybe it's the chemistry. It's time to break up so I can make a better me. Better believe in your mind, cause it's everything. You can mold, shape, find almost anything. All it takes is some time and some clarity to find your identity. It's mind over everything. And when I feel like this, I'm immortal. When I feel like this, I'm immortal. When I feel like this, I'm immortal. When I feel like this, I'm
You got to ask yourself one question. Do I feel lucky?
What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 92. Huge 92 for Toxic Tuesday. And this one is for a legend. So way back in the early Toxic Tuesday days, we actually did one on Lone Wolf McQuaid. I think it was just me and Mad Mardigan at the time when we did that one. I think maybe 70s dropped on. I can't remember. But either way, we're finally doing a proper Chuck Norris month. A whole 4 straight weeks of the legend, the great, the immovable object, the man who can move the earth, Chuck Norris. How are you all doing tonight? Nice to see a lot of you here. Ready to fucking party. This is what's up. This is what I love to see. What's up, Pinochet's Helicopter Tours, John Capola, Anonymous Gamer, Josh Post, Mr. Tickletron, Phantom Outsider, my guy, Vince Womack. How you all doing? Bush Pen Down. How you doing? Let's see all these other here. Fat Elvis. What's up, Fat? Inverse Opinion. What's up, Inverse? Deleted Scenes. How are you, sir? Nice to see you here. Chris Molina. What's up? Gonzalo Bergali. Brian Barth. What's up, guys? Soul Assassin. And what happened for having Chuck Norris? He's just not really doing movies all that much anymore. But who knows? Maybe one day he'll come back for Expendables 800, should that ever hit. What's up, Office Girl? Yes, we're going to party huge with the patriarchy tonight. What's up, Aaron Ratliff? Ashton Com reviews cure cancer. Well, it's because of the guys that are, alongside me that help cure the cancer. Without them, it wouldn't be like I wouldn't be able to have that power on my own merits, truthfully speaking. What's up, RJ Godzilla 81? All right, let's bring in one of our panelists here. We'll start off with the man who keeps everything going, looking as great as it does. How are you, Mark D with a C?
Doing great. Glad to be here. I got stuck in traffic tonight, but I'm glad I made it. And actually,
Okay.
the engineer here, I'm doing spreadsheets for everything. So I was going back to look at all the old, I'm making a list of movies. We're going to be to 100. I'm like, we're going to forget, maybe we're going to do a movie twice. But on that Lone Wolf McQuaid, that was, Matt had one of the best moments about talking about when the truck was buried underground and all the, but it was actually me, you, Mad, and Arwen Avalon on that one.
Oh, wow.
Arwen was on that one. Yeah.
Good memory, Mark.
Yeah. So
Wow.
classic stuff. Yeah, it doesn't seem like that long ago. Toxic Tuesday's been going 2 years now. So June, we started in June. You did the first one was Red Heat, I think, right? So
yeah,
you did Red Heat.
was Red Heat. And we didn't know.
You weren't
I
calling
didn't
it
know
Toxic
that was going to be a
Tuesday,
thing. Yeah, it wasn't even called Toxic Tuesday. We didn't. It was just a, hey, let's try this for a few weeks. let's just have fun with that. Then we're like, okay, this is actually kind of cool. Let's go for the summer. And then the summer became, hey, we got a thing here.
Yeah, this is
And
going good.
along came Dustin, along came 70s, along
Yeah.
came a Tom Connors and a red shirt. Like it's, and of course, the occasion with the Mardigans and the Gearys and the Bruces.
Geary.
It's just like it's been a journey, Mark. It's been a journey.
A great journey. Yeah. So yeah, it should be fun tonight. I'm not going to say anything bad about this movie, just in case Mr. Norris is watching. I don't want to get my ass kicked. So yeah, be careful in your comments what you say, because I'm sure we got all the. I'm adding mad right now, so I'm not looking at the chat, but I'm sure there's going to be a lot of, if I haven't seen it already, a ton of Chuck Norris comments about how don't mess with Mr. Norris. So and everyone go out and buy his exercise machine. I guess if we could maybe get him as a sponsor, that would be great. Yeah.
Dude, I would love for us to be sponsoring Bowflex.
Yeah.
Well, Mark, glad to have you here, sir. Thank you as always for what you do for the show. I'm sure all the 40 plus people in the chat appreciate you and your wonderful services. Let's bring on our red shirt. Just another red shirt. What's up, red shirt?
Hey there. Oh, this was a fun movie. So this is gonna be fun. Plus, Chuck Norris facts. I mean, come on.
Oh, dude. Well, I'm gonna just it's a whole month of Norris. I'm probably gonna do maybe around 10 per episode. So I got pace out the jokes because we got 4 short weeks of Norris.
But I mean, this has been around. This as essentially a meme has been around at least since to at least 20 some odd years, maybe all the way back to Operation Desert Storm. And I think it was that Chuck Norris went over to do a visit with the troops. And to stave off boredom, one of the things they all started doing was exchanging lists of Chuck Norris facts. It was all over their message boards and stuff. and he got wind of it. And his first reaction was like, what the hell? But according to a little bird named Mrs. Redshirt, Chuck Norris in an interview once said that he had a favorite Chuck Norris fact. I'm trying to figure out what that was. I haven't been able to find it. And I can't ask her right now, which is unfortunate. But yeah, he just decided, oh heck with it, I'll go with it. I'm gonna run with it. So he's not upset by it at all. And they've just people have been inventing them forever.
and you know what? I hope hundreds of more, thousands, millions more continue to come and go as time goes on. Because I feel like Chuck Norris is just an endless will of jokes. And why settle? Why settle when we can have even more? That's fucking funny.
Absolutely.
All right, let's bring in our other 3 gentlemen here. How are you, C-Force, Keto, Simple, Dustin? Nah. You're boomering it.
Speaking of sponsors, C-Force.
It's
a roundhouse kick to your
zoom in on that. Zoom in on that, dude. Look at that. Look at that hat, too. The Walker, Texas Ranger hat, too. Oh, yeah. C-Force. I did an old cartoon,
Awesome.
G-Force.
So, Chuck, if you're watching, we Nick would love to sponsor you. Yep.
Dude, we just need a Bowflex, and we've got everything here. We got your water. We got your books. We got your movies. We just now need your exercise machine, and the rest will be history.
It tastes like the tears of the unworthy.
How you doing, Dustin?
I'm doing good, man. How are you?
I'm good. Happy to be here. Happy to be hanging out with you and our other toxic gentlemen as we dive in for what's going to sure be a very memorable next 4 weeks. For real. So let's make it. Oh, Greasy Pan. That's a great name, Greasy Panem. Yes. Oh yeah. Always. All right.
Girl. Nice to see Office Girl. Hi.
Yes.
Hey, everybody.
How are you, that 70s rock fan?
Pretty good, mate. All things considered. They did answer the age-old question of which came first, the chicken or the egg. It was Chuck Norris. The Chuck Norris is responsible for destroying the periodic table because he only recognizes the element of surprise. However, we must
70s is off to the races.
We must acknowledge
Yep.
the fact that Jennifer Lawrence was actually the first Chuck Norris. So So good evening, everybody. It's great to be here for this. I could talk about missing in action movies all day, every day. We did a great Canon Film Club on them recently, so fully up to speed on the movies. So there are questions, though, Nick. There are many questions, as in, are we doing missing in action or are we doing missing in action?
I know. It's exciting. Save it. I know. That's gonna be a conversation.
More questions than answers.
Yes, there is. There is. But hey, glad to have you here, 70s.
It's good to be back, Nick.
This is gonna be fun, and let's bring in. Well, he's basically one of our reoccurring guests. How are you, Bruce Lombardo of the Dix Division?
I am fantastic, and thank you once again for bringing me on with this wonderful panel of people. Hello, chat. I hope we entertain you tonight.
Ah, nice little warm intro from Sir Bruce. Glad to have you, sir. Are you ready to be missing in action tonight? Are you?
I am loaded and ready to bear. This is a great movie to discuss. I had a lot of fun watching it, and it's kind of, if you go into any sort of discussion on it on the web, it's literally you're jumping back into 1983, 84 when you're reading about how this movie was created. But I'm going to shut up about that and just kind of leave that as a stinger, so you guys we can play off that later, because this is a fantastic movie.
Facts. All right. So before we do, guys, I got this about 15, maybe 16 years ago. It's still in really good condition. The Truth About Chuck Norris. 400 Facts About the World's Greatest Human. The world's greatest human. And if you look at the back on right here, it says a must-have peon. I don't know. To the archetypical American male and a Bible of everything Chuck. The Truth About Chuck Norris is easily the most important book of all time. That alone's a joke right there. For the description of this. So, I see someone says, yeah, we got a few havers here. Yeah, all right, guys. No, seriously, it's an essential reading book. Seriously, if you're gonna be someone who should read in your life, you should say, hey, I should be reading the book of Chuck Norris. Now, funnily enough, I did have people, I guess you could say, who are of the uptight nature growing up on Chuck Norris. It all started with Walker, Texas Ranger, and then, getting into a lot of the movies later. I straight up had people who were really bugged by these jokes. I don't talk to them no more, and there's a reason for that. I just don't.
Chuck Norris won't let you.
Yeah, Chuck Norris was like, they're offended by these jokes. Okay,
Really?
and then he took care of business and never heard from him again. So you know what? That's fine. Thank you, Chuck, for your service. I do appreciate it. You showed me what good friends are and what bad friends are, and you took care of the bad friends because they weren't even fucking friends. So, missing in action, guys. So we have a few first timers on this, and we have a few guys like myself and 70s who have seen this a time or two in our lives.
We saw it at the cinema.
Dude.
I'm not
old.
Do you recall? Was
Were you born in the 70s?
I was born in the 60s. So yeah, I distinctly recall going with some buddies to see it all liquored up.
Oh. Wow.
And it wasn't particularly popular in the old U of K, but there was a hardcore of us action movie type guys that loved this stuff. So yeah. So
did you see it? Could you recall seeing it opening night, opening weekend? What was
a few days in? It was a few days.
Okay,
it wasn't on for that long, I guess. There were certain cinemas that would be, but
I know
it was different in those days because movies didn't release in multiple like cinemas, hundreds of cinemas at the same time. So it would maybe be in some in London, and it would go to the rest of the country, or it would be here or in some and not in others. It wasn't like the blanket releases you get now. There was only so many cans of film to go around. So it would have been, it may well have been a week or two or even later before it in its short run, I guess.
Well, it wasn't a movie that was particularly known for being a runaway smash at all. But like a lot of the Chuck Norris action movies, this one definitely has its fans. And it was also one of, I'm going to say one of, because between some of these movies, they're part of a 5-picture deal he had done with the Canon Group for a big Canon Group deal. And it's so weird how these movies weren't bigger, because there's definitely, you could see some Rambo influence. You could definitely see, of course, it's just Chuck Norris playing Chuck Norris as well. This should, for me, I'm like, you had the post-Vietnam time, and people are just ready for movies where they see dudes kicking Vietnamese ass. Like, how is this not a bigger thing? And what I like too, for me, the music, I felt like it was a good, heavy soundtrack of Hunter versus Hunted. That's the vibe I get out of the soundtrack, is Hunter versus Hunted. It definitely makes me feel like I gotta blend in some camouflage, like to blend in with the settings of all the mayhem going on in this flick. So I absolutely cherish the music. I'm hoping one day, if I don't even know if it's made, I never even looked into it, but if there's a piece of this that exists on wax to listen to, I'd listen to it. I'd play it loud. I'd play it very
I don't want the
loud.
vinyl, Nick. I want the rocket launcher.
Wasn't this the first big Vietnam movie that was released?
Yeah, it beat the Rambo Vietnam one. Was that 2 or 3? 2. That was 2.
Well,
Part
Green
2.
Green Berets, wasn't that Vietnam or?
Very
yes,
different
it was.
movie though.
Different movie though, but
different type of movie. But
George Takei was in that one, with John Wayne. Yep.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
But this
one.
was probably the first, in the 70s, the MIA, missing in action, became a huge movement. And of course, it's never been proven that people were left behind, but I'm sure it unfortunately did happen, or who knows what happened to some of those brave soldiers over there. And these guys were torched. When you read the description of what happened in the Hanoi Hilton and John McCain, and of course anyone who was over there, they were treated brutally. It was just barbaric. So you're seeing, the war is not far off from that point, and it was a huge movement. The MIA flag, and to try to find out what had happened to these guys and soldiers, and try to find out if anyone was still there to get them back.
Yeah, well, the Vietnamese officially treated American soldiers as war criminals, pretty much from the get-go. So they weren't cooperative at any point after the war in anybody trying to go doing fact-finding or find out if there's anybody there. I do remember on a couple of visits to D.C. going to the Vietnam War Memorial after it was built, that every day, both the times I went, there were a couple of gentlemen, I assume who were veterans, wearing POW MIA T-shirts with a card table in front of them full of brochures and things and information packets for anybody who was interested. So it was a big deal. They were literally camped out at the Vietnam War Memorial in Washington, D.C. for quite a while. It was a big deal.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't in the US, obviously I was in the UK, but I mean, there were things like Ronald Reagan's speech about missing soldiers. Wasn't there a speech or something? And it was the zeitgeist. There was a lot of coverage of this, and this was based on a novel that was written, I guess, after that coverage, and it was the book that Chuck had read. Which prompted him to get interested in this. But as it turned out, well, I mean, we're going to get into it, obviously, that Canon were already thinking of making another movie called Missing in Action based upon a different script from the Chuck Brunner one. So it was a thing that was in the zeitgeist, and I think Chuck and crew perfectly captured that moment then. So right place, right time, right idea. I mean, it was a thing he was interested in. It brought more attention to the issue, and I'm sure people in the chat would be able to confirm whether or not. I thought there were some guys ended up being found or returned eventually. I might be wrong. I wasn't, as I say, I wasn't in the country, so
I don't.
I
to
don't
my
have
knowledge,
the knowledge
I don't
on
think they
that.
found anyone.
Did they
I
not?
mean,
No.
but I think it did happen though. Unfortunately, I think guys.
I think there were some there, maybe, but they maybe never surfaced because that would have been.
Well, they disappeared them forever.
Politically inconvenient for the North Vietnamese regime, especially as over time they wanted to reintegrate with world society.
And they have for the most part. But I mean, we had someone that worked in our company that was refugee from Vietnam, and someone in my class actually in school was a refugee. And then you talked about how horrible it was back then, to live in Vietnam. Of course, it was a very unpopular war here, but the regime there was horrendous, and of course, this South Vietnamese regime too was an extremely corrupt regime as well. So it was just one cluster fuck after another. But the North Vietnamese brutal. You talk to the families and how they brutalize the people, and it's a lot different today in the most part. But it was a brutal existence, and sometimes you got to count your lucky stars you're born in the USA, I guess. So and then those the refugees that made it here, they always talked about how glad they were to be here. And I remember the kid in my think of a kid in our school in my grade, how lucky to be a refugee and get the opportunity to come to this country. So
well, I remember the Vietnamese boat people thing. I mean, that was worldwide news with the who's going to take them, where are they going to go, kind of thing. But I think it given that at the time people were reassessing their treatment of the Vietnamese veterans who'd had a horrible time of it, not only because of being there, but when they came home, all the stuff that was thrown at them by the hippie mob or whatever.
Yep.
And as if the majority of them had any kind of say in whether they went or not. They were drafted. The treatment of them was horrible in retrospect. And people had got over that and were starting to acknowledge what they'd done and the sacrifice they'd made personally. And I think this movie struck a nerve because they wanted to see some ass kicking going on. In a sense, and it's very interesting the way the North Vietnamese are portrayed in this and the prequel. It's portrayed as individual generals having some kind of warlord fiefdom that's doing this. So they were a little bit careful to move it away from just blanket condemning the North Vietnamese. Although it was more certain warlord generals. So I found that quite interesting in both movies. Well, I know there's obviously more than two, but the first two particularly, the ones that are very focused on this scenario. So the villains are seen as like not outliers, but they're able to do whatever it is they want because they're a general and they're out in the jungle doing whatever. Whether it's condemned or condoned by their own government, we don't really know. Although they're due, and I think it's in it's in this movie that North Vietnamese government are basically stonewalling about the whole issue. So, so yeah, I mean, it's an interesting time, and whilst we love it as an action movie, it did get caught up in the politics of the time. And the reassessment of Vietnam, and that's
especially with the timing is when you look at the timing when it comes out, that alone is going to like have it by default, guilt by association, just because of the timing of when it came out.
Yeah, and as people have pointed out, there were other movies that addressed things. Heroes, as was mentioned, The Deer Hunter, obviously, heavily, heavily focused on the Vietnam experience and what happened to these guys coming home. There had been a few movies. This one, of course, is radically different from those, because there's some measure of exacting revenge on for the boys, you know.
Well, yeah, this movie is pure wish fulfillment.
Oh yeah,
a lot of that.
Oh yeah, this
and
is
none the worse for it.
Yeah, if in a perfect world, the guy who goes back to get some guys left behind, yeah, definitely, totally always happens commonplace in the real world. Always. This is where we leave our friends, but yeah, guys, we'll just go back there. Let's just get on a bike and we'll go make it happen.
Office Girl, that was Korea.
MASH was Korea, yeah. I mean, it was an allegory for Vietnam, but it was Korea.
Yeah. It was a protest against Vietnam, but the book it was based on was from the experience of I think 2 Army doctors or 1 Army doctor in Korea, and he was pissed, by the way, at the way MASH portrayed his story. He was both the movie and the television series. He was furious with it. Because to him, it wasn't his story. His book was not an anti-war story. It was just what happens when you stick a civilian whose job is to save lives in the middle of a war, which is a problem for anybody who doesn't want to, anybody who chooses to, whether it's like the one about the conscientious objector. I'm blanking. It's World War II. Pacific Island.
Catch 22.
No.
Oh, no.
No. Where he lowers people down, wounded down off of a ridge. That the Japanese what is that? Right. That movie, the great movie that L. Ron was in.
I'm old. I'll never remember.
Can't remember,
dude.
But
then the jump that leads to waking up.
Yes.
But this is great. Look at this.
Jump.
Look at that.
With 2 grenades.
Epic.
Yeah.
You realize he was still holding those grenades when they went off.
Yes.
It didn't matter. It's Chuck Norris.
Didn't matter.
Chuck Norris hurt those grenades big time.
He did.
Yep. And of course, we get him unbuttoned, unshirted too. Unbuttoned, unshirted. Yeah. Like, of course, you get Chuck Norris like that. And I had pointed out a comment in the chat, and looks like a few people got it. Said, "What superhero did Canon Films originally have movie rights to?" Obviously, we have some well-informed people here, and that was Spider-Man. Because as you see, he's watching Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends, and it involves an episode with Shocker, aka Schultz. And you know what? How fortunate, because I have this clip from Spider-Man the Animated Series Save.
Get back here, Shocker! Shocker! You can't escape me! I'll chase you to the ends of the earth!
I would have loved to have
Greatest
seen
overacting in cartoon history.
I would have loved to have seen what Canon did with Spider-Man. I would have loved that.
It makes you wonder what could have been. I just like how we get a whole few minutes of the episode playing. You hear that signature someone's about to get serious. I was like,
so rightly in the chat, people are pointing out it was Hacksaw Ridge was the Mel Gibson movie that we were trying to think of. Yeah.
Thank you guys.
And as Red Shirt mentioned,
the other movie I really love is Uncommon Valor. I don't know if that would be a good Toxic Tuesday movie, but that's another great Vietnam era movie, kind of in vein with this one. I don't know if that came out before or after this one, but
came 1 year before.
1 year before, but yeah, I love Uncommon Valor. It's a great movie. Yep, great story in that one. Is Gene Hackman in that one? I'm trying to remember.
Yes.
Yeah, Hackman's that one, right? Yep.
Hackman and Reb Brown.
Yeah.
Hackman.
Captain America. Yeah.
Hope we don't get copyright trouble because it didn't on my show, but
well, I'm just pausing it just so. Yeah. As long as we pause, I think we should be okay.
This is a double grenade jump. You can always cut it out after. I thought it was shorter than that, Nick. I apologize. I thought
that's what she said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have the one where he kicks the television in too, but
I just laughed my ass. I remember the very first time I ever saw it, I laughed so hard just because it doesn't look like he's jumping. It just looks like he's falling into like a drunk friend who's about to fall on you screaming. That's all I
So when are we going to address the M16 in the room? No,
let's adjust the M16
so is
in the
this
room.
is this the first movie or is it not?
Let's acknowledge that, because obviously these movies were filmed together, and this is technically the second movie, but theatrically released first because reasons. Oh yeah, they thought this was better.
They thought it was better.
They thought it was better. So like, why did you? If you felt like this was better, you should have built up to this. Then you could have said this was the superior sequel. I don't know why they did like.
Well,
that.
they'd already greenlit the other one.
They should have done the second one first and the first one second, to not confuse everyone in the chat.
They both. There's actually, I do have a diagram which does explain it. I have a diagram which explains it.
Oh, you got it.
Let me.
Oh,
you have it.
I think it explains it perfectly.
It really does. It really does.
There we go. 70s brings the research.
That's right. I brought the research.
Wondering how it works.
But they were both called Missing in Action at first when they were in the script stage. And yeah, it just like one became two became one became a prequel, one became the first release. The other one had been filmed first, but was released second. All that stuff. It just they just said that one's better. That one's going out first. Let's retool the other one as a prequel, even though it was the one that was meant to be. Yeah. Sorry, mate.
I watched both the first and second because when I first ordered the movie, it gave me part 2 first.
Yeah.
And I was kind of furious about that. I'm like, fuck it, whatever. I watched the entire thing all the way through, and I enjoyed it. I liked the second movie. And then watched this one here, and then found out that like the Canon Film Group thought that this was a superior film because the action sequences were better choreographed, and they just felt this was a stronger release. And I thought, no, you should have gone with the weakest one first, like the Fellowship of the Ring. Then we could build up to the Two Towers, and it would have been so much better.
Yeah.
And wasn't this based on a script by James Cameron? Because it was floating around Hollywood at the time, and they had ignored it for Rambo: First Blood and Part 2 of that trilogy. And I thought the Canon Group got a hold of this.
Not
and
that I
know of.
I hadn't heard of the James Cameron thing. I mean, this was Arthur Silver, Larry Levinson, and the teenage Steve Bing that were pushing this script. Maybe Cameron did some script writing on it. I don't know. That's not in the guide that I read, but you could be right, mate. I mean, because the other one was James Brunner and Chuck Norris had been pushing their script for both films called Missing in Action, which is what really threw you up. And in fact, they marketed what became the second movie as the first movie before either of them were released.
Oh my! Wow.
And what's the third movie is called? It's got his name first, and then
Braddock.
Missing in Action. Braddock.
Yeah.
Because someone looking it up, I was like, wait, because I figured I'd get all three movies. I'm like, wait, it's just Braddock here. Yep. So very confusing.
It's really confusing, yeah. But the confusing bit is when you see that promotional material for what became Missing in Action 2, and it's called Missing in Action, and it's just you look at it and you would think, well, that is the film that became Missing in Action, but it wasn't. It was the other one because it looks the same. I mean, it's just so confusing, you know. But they did the right thing, I think, because this one had there's the great television scene. This one had more action in it. And I think they felt that would be, because action was all the thing now, that would be more likely to grab the public. And I think commercially they were right because it made more money. The second film, which is the prequel to this, has more drama in it. Bruce, I think you would probably say more drama.
I would definitely say that, especially with Nestor.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. No, I would agree. I would agree with that as well, especially with the middle portion of it. The middle portion is really where it emphasizes the most on it. So, appropriately enough, we got a Chuck Norris joke. I wouldn't say it's the best one, but it fits considering what we're watching. Chuck Norris once told his mustache to strangle an entire Vietnamese village. That's it. That's the joke. And consider we're doing one with Vietnam. I was like, oh, how perfect. But yes, what were the other movies in Chuck's contract for Cannes? So it's obvious most people know Missing in Action 1 and 2. And I see Just Joe's got the R1, Invasion USA. So we got 3 out of the 5. What are the other ones, guys? Chuck Norris did a 5-picture deal. What were his other 2 movies?
Delta Force?
Yep.
Delta Force, yeah. Delta Force.
Yep.
So there's Delta Force. You mentioned Missing in Action.
Yes.
There's the Missing in Action. Let me think now. I'm looking for it now.
I didn't know if hold on.
Well, was Delta Force 2
considered being part of the initial deal? Maybe I'm wrong.
It's the initial deal that I'm trying to think of because we know they ended up making multiple sequels. There's a Delta Force 2.
Yeah, well, 1 and 2 were part of the deal.
Yeah,
Delta Force, Invasion USA.
Yeah, well, I'm just looking for it now. But
is it Braddock Missing in Action 3?
Well, I don't know if that was as Nick Six says that might not have been part of the original deal.
I don't think it. No, I don't think it was 3, but maybe I'm wrong.
The Hitman wasn't it?
Well, Chuck Norris is always right. Just remember that.
Canon. Yeah, Hitman wasn't canon.
Well, the thing is, I don't know if it was a 5-picture deal. It was a multi-year deal.
Maybe that's what it was.
Yeah,
maybe that I thought it was considered the 5-picture deal. Maybe
maybe there was a minimum 5, but they may not have specified them. But they ended up making 10.
Yeah, it made a lot of fun.
But I think it was more of a fact that it was a multi-year deal. And basically, it was a blank check for him to go do what he wanted. So
yeah, it's Office Girl.
One of them was called Office Girl. No, I'm just kidding.
Lopan, yeah, there's Lopan, all right.
That's a movie I'd like to see. Chuck Norris stars in Office Girl. No sandwich was safe.
Well, he can slam a revolving door, so an office building sounds about right.
Yeah,
that's right.
Forgot he did the Octagon.
He did the Octagon before that deal, I think, though. Wasn't that before the deal?
And Phantom Outsiders preaching gospel right here. Yes,
Firewalker, that's another one. Yeah.
Code of Silence. Yes. Yeah. There you go. Funny. That's a guy he's gonna run into later.
I've often been thinking if we have all these multiverse movies now, if you had a Chuck Norris multiverse and he had to fight himself, would they both win?
Yes.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, the answer is yes. All right.
It would just destroy
Chuck
time.
Chuck Norris's dog is trained to pick up his own shit because Chuck Norris will not take shit from anyone.
Oh.
And we got a picture of that in the book.
Yeah, good one.
That's
pretty
that's
awesome.
really, it's a picture that makes the image on that one. Picture that definitely does. Oh, I love this where he goes up and he's just right off the bat. He's making a damn scene about all this shit.
How slimy does James Hong look here? It's just incredible how good he does that.
He looks like he didn't shower for a few weeks.
Yeah, it looks.
And not true that they're in the war.
And then he's up against this macho American guy, you know.
Yeah, it's like what was the
Quattro.
line? It's like why was the bounty on my head? First, it's like 5,000. Like no, it was 20,000 or
No,
10,000.
James was like, it's more like 20,000.
20, yeah.
But I think
Because I
isn't it-
killed so many assholes like you, right?
sorry, isn't
for
it the
killing,
case-
I think it's for killing assholes.
For killing
like
assholes
you.
like you.
Yes.
I mean,
Yeah.
Braddock is not there to do any kind of negotiation. He's only there to find these guys.
Yes.
He's like, can
So
I just get
basically-
this 5 minutes over with, and I'm going to go kill people.
Yeah.
So, in other words, Chuck Norris in real life, basically.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, the Hong portrayal of the general there is like all of the portrayals in these
Did you
movies.
say hung?
Hong, he's well hung.
He's very
Oh, I
hung.
thought you said hung.
He's well hung. Is the bad guys are so villainous that you can't even accept them, I don't think, as just real representatives of actual North Vietnamese. They're pure evil. They're just construct of pure evil. It's wonderfully done. Because you don't have to be jingoistic to root for Chuck here, because those guys are just so evil.
Did
Like-
did they get in trouble for making these movies? I mean, back then the politically correct movement really hadn't started.
Oh,
That
they
was
hated
probably
it.
the late, but the more quote unquote liberal factions probably hated this one. I'm trying to remember when I saw it when it
they
came out.
did.
what-
it. They
They did.
hated it.
They hated this movie. It was very xenophobic, they said.
Well, they also didn't want their narrative on the Vietnam War challenged at all. I mean,
yeah,
that-
there
that-
may be
it's the-
people left behind, or
right for the
It's
same
so
reason. I
weird
mean,
that they... Go ahead.
for the same reason that they shat on when we did recently, Heartbreak Ridge, because he went to Reagan's war in Grenada, and I was like, yeah, you just there is nothing the United States does that certain elements in it won't root against ever. It's
Yeah.
just automatic.
I
Neither.
mean, I don't think the critics and the other bleeding hearts that ever truly watched it, because as
No,
I
it's
say,
'cause
the
they
villains
don't.
are just so ridiculously Bondish evil that
Oh,
they're
yeah.
not. It's not xenophobic. These are just evil shits,
Mhm.
and how could it be
Right.
xenophobic? It's a war. I mean, it's
know,
so
I know.
ridiculous.
Not only
too.
is
I
it a
mean,
war, but you see some of these people trying to embrace freedom and being freed from all this garbage that's going on. The later half of the movie, they're like, freedom. Yeah, let's get our guns. Let's go fight for our freedom. Like, that's
Yeah.
for them being portrayed in a light to, conquer basically what was going on.
But it was interesting how they didn't call the North Vietnamese xenophobic in the movie when they're bayoneting American troops. I mean, that's
yeah.
Mhm.
like, where's the double standard? It's over there in a box.
Well, then
Yeah,
that
and if you-
doesn't benefit the argument. So they got to pretend that you're not
Look-
seeing that, or
look
that
at
they
that.
don't see that.
Look at that cool jacket. Look at that outfit.
Dude.
I mean, that is the height
He-
of.
Is he? He's not
something.
drinking a Bud Light there, obviously.
He's
too.
not drinking a Bud Light. He's drinking a Bud neutron heavy.
You guys, country once, Colonel. Yeah. You might not be so lucky this time. Yeah. Well, he was lucky because he's Chuck Norris, bro. When you just wipe out a whole camp stealth level.
That's right, that was the
That's
stealth
what
part of the game. Chuck is like Chuck when he's going into the camp is like when you're playing a stealth game and you accidentally fuck up and you trigger something and you think, okay, hell, I'm just going to kill everybody. And you
Kill 'em
start
all.
shooting. Too
Yep.
late now. I'm not going back.
Yep.
One man army, one man
Yeah.
army corps, right?
Yeah.
Omac.
But you can see where modern video games have borrowed an awful lot from this stuff.
Uh-huh.
From
Oh,
the jungle mission and the infiltrating a camp missions and the ridiculous shooting the shit out of people missions.
We missed a very essential scene, where's when Braddock steps off the plane to go to the hearing, and you see him meet up, and then you see him deny a handshake twice. I'm like,
Yes.
bro, that's so fucking Chuck Norris.
I think Third Eye is
What was
mentioning-
it that he said? Oh man, what was it that he said about it?
I don't know,
when
but
he
Third
denied
Eye
the
mentioned the
handshake.
one about eating the rats. That's in the prequel. That's in the second
Yeah,
movie.
the second movie.
Yeah, that's where he's in the bag. He's tied upside down in the bag, and they put the rat in, and and just a lot of struggling, and of course the rat comes out dead.
I remember he said, Porter Maxwell says, "You're a goddamn embarrassment, Brock." He's like, "That's why I'm here, Senator."
That's right, yeah.
That's
like
the
this,
line.
Chuck
This
gets
is-
asked up for a nightcap here. I love this.
I know
scene
this
coming
is
up. It's awesome.
smooth, and you think,
Yeah.
oh, he's going to get the girl. Nah, he doesn't give a shit about that.
I remember when I first saw him, like, wow, Chuck Norris would be the guy who gets laid early in the movie, not late in the movie. He's very James. I thought he was going to go James Bond about initially when I first saw it. I'm like, oh no, he's setting up a plan. I thought he was just pulling a Bond here. I was wrong. He's just saying.
I think you read those cues all wrong.
Plus, she's in her negligee now, right? Or you know, and then as soon as he starts undressing, she's like, wait, I want to be wined and dined for a second. She wants him, obviously, at this point. But
there's only one thing Chuck's got a boner for, and it's that general.
Yep.
I love.
Should be quite a night too.
He strips down right here.
Now look, Brad, just because, yeah.
And you know, it's probably a good thing that they didn't try and have him do pull a James Bond where he beds her, goes off and gets the information he needs, comes back, climbs back into the room, and comes back into bed with her just in time for the Vietnamese soldiers to burst into the room, because if you watch this scene, he has all the chemistry of the sink in the bathroom with her.
Mine, I'm a little bit
I don't think
shy.
Chuck Norris as a person would have went that way.
No, he wouldn't.
Dude, that's a Speedo. Look at that shit.
Yeah.
You go back.
Yeah,
that shit is dude. That
I was going to clip it with I should have put Mad on that. Mad there, yeah.
And that's Johnny Rico's mom, by the way, from Starship Troopers.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's who that is.
Yeah. Nice, good spot, good catch. Invited you for a nightcap.
Do you mind? I'm a bit shy. I'm like, yeah, right, Chuck. That's the
Yeah,
one
right,
line
Chuck
you
is
messed up in this movie. You're lying, Chuck. You're
She's
not
a fast
shy.
girl.
You just don't give her the privilege to look at you, is what you're doing. You're denying her the Chuck privilege.
He's doing her a favor because he would ruin her. I mean,
He
it's
would.
Chuck Norris, for God's sake.
Yeah, he would break her. That's true.
Hey, you know
Might
who
be a
else was in
dog,
this
Chuck
movie?
the-
You know that Jean-Claude Van Damme was a stuntman in this movie.
Yes, he was.
Yeah,
I am aware.
Yeah.
Would you like to
Get a
name
camera,
that
please?
specific moment where he was?
I don't know. You can do that. I just know he was in it.
Oh, you just know he was in it. Oh.
I'm not.
Is he doing
I'm
any
not
splits?
Not a completist like you. I've got there's a couple of pictures of it, but I mean they're pretty fuzzy. There's no really good clear images of it.
I've not seen clear images of the Van Damme.
Yeah, I mean
But
the pictures
I
of him
do
with
know
Chuck.
that Braddock, the fact that he gets out of this place, I'm like, man, he had to have planned out which place he was gonna stay out, because the way he gets out, I'm like, man, it's like he knows the surfaces of this building. He's the only guy who can make this fig. Okay, yeah, he could just do it his first time, climb up the surfaces of these buildings, because. Dude, look at all that flat surface on the building.
And there's your Spider-Man. Chuck Norris is Spider-Man.
That's
Yeah,
right.
that's what I was
totally.
wondering. Do you think they were they played that scene because of how Chuck gets out of the building? I was wondering what you guys thought on that.
Because they had the rights of Spider-Man at the time. That's all it was. It's just them using their, hey, let's market Spider-Man since.
Oh, they could have made a Spider-Man movie, or
Don't you think
They
that
could
would have
have,
for
been?
a year.
but they
Yeah, they
lost
could
the
have.
rights by the early 90s, early and mid 90s. I mean,
Well,
if anyone wants to
94
correct
canon
me-
disintegrated in
Okay,
94.
so mid-90s.
yeah. But it wouldn't have been
Then-
great if they'd made it with Chuck Norris as Spider-Man. I mean, talk
Oh,
about casting
man.
against type.
right?
I
yeah.
watch it. I fucking
Well, I
watch
Uncle
gotta say that-
Uncle Ben would never have died. There's no-
Joseph Zito, the director. Joe Zito's the director of this movie, and he was supposed to be the one working on Spider-Man. He did pre-production for a year on Spider-Man before he threw his hands up and went elsewhere.
Jeez. Yeah.
Is that supposed to be the
wonder.
James
wonder.
Cameron version or script of Spider-Man? But that's way before that.
I think it's way before that.
Way before that. Okay. Yeah.
I'm not sad, Brian. You know why? Because we had a great run of Chuck movies, and we have many great ones still to reflect on. And I can gladly just rewatch them now. If he happens to just one day decide I'm going to do more, and it looks promising, yeah, I'm going to give it a shot. So no sadness here. I don't know if any of the panel anyone disagrees, but that's where I'm at. I'm just like, I think it could be for the best.
And this
Well, I
is
mean,
a
he's
very,
I don't see Chuck Norris at age 83 finding a role that he could play and that people would want to see him in. He's not Clint Eastwood, as an actor and in the movies that he's been in. He needed to be younger and in shape and needed to be able to do the fight scenes, or at least a lot of it, if not all of it, because I think he did most of it. But I'm not sad. I would rather go back and watch his older movies because they're fun.
Well, I think it's always good that people know when to stop. I mean, some actors never know when to stop, and they should.
Okay, yeah, you Arnold.
But yeah, but I can think of one script that would be good though if he played a man who met the Grim Reaper and defeated him. So old Chuck Norris playing himself on his deathbed defeats the Grim Reaper in a battle.
As long as he's credited and plays Chuck Norris,
He has to play Chuck himself.
He has to play Chuck Norris in the credits and all, and also his name, guys, has to be referred to in the entire movie as Chuck Norris. You don't say Norris, you don't say Chuck. You always have to say Chuck Norris.
You see, I don't know if James Cameron would have been working on the stuff we've talked about, because at this period he was working on Terminator and then co-writing First Blood Part 2, which was the Vietnam one. So he was probably pretty busy. I don't know if he would be doing script work on stuff like Spider-Man. I mean, he might have been. I don't know.
Well, First Blood, I thought, was supposed to be not Chuck Norris. Stallone had shopped that around.
Yeah,
and he was asking for $30 million to do it. Yeah. And Cannon took the idea of it, and they used like $6 million instead, and a budget Stallone for this, and it worked out really well.
Yeah.
So, Chuck Norris took my virginity, and he will sure as hell take yours. If you're thinking to yourself, that's impossible, I already lost my virginity, then you are dead wrong.
And I'd like to point out, I think it's significant. We just on Heartbreak Ridge, we talked about how Fragetti was basically Stallone as Cobra, and the Swede was basically a stand-in for Arnold Schwarzenegger. There is no stand-in for Chuck Norris in Heartbreak Ridge.
Yeah, that's true. There is no stand-in for Chuck. Dude, Chuck looks like he's a fucking bank robber, right?
He does, doesn't he?
He looks like he doesn't want to kill him. It looks like he wants to rob someone of expensive jewelry.
I was about to say the Phantom from the Pink Panthers movies, and it's a good thing he wasn't cast as the Phantom, because that would have ended Clouseau's career early.
We're going to have to reclip this and put the Pink Panther theme underneath it.
Yes.
Seriously, no, he does look like one of the Pink Panthers aside.
Why wasn't he wearing a hat or some coverage on his head here? It's like he's gonna stand out like a sore thumb, blonde American with a big beard. I wonder who that is. Yeah.
No face paint, nothing, no camouflage.
Chuck goes against all the rules of sneaking out and breaking in.
He gets the lightest scared of Chuck Norris.
Chuck Norris beat the son in a staring contest. That's why. Chuck Norris made a Happy Meal cry.
When they were making the first, or when they were making the second Street Fighter, and they had Chuck Norris on there, you have 6 buttons, 3 versions of punches, 3 versions of kicks, and no matter what you did, it was always a roundhouse kick. And they're like, "This is broken," and Chuck was like, "That's a feature."
Oh, he sneaks back to his place. Not only does he time it to where the guys arrive to see him, act like he's having sex with the girl, but he just straight up just goes up, okay, I gotta dress you and you gotta look like you want me. I was just like,
She did
holy
want him,
damn.
of course. It's Chuck Norris.
That scene would have had the pitchforks flying nowadays. That would have
Oh
had
God, yeah.
probably the last 10 years. The fact that he just went up and made the move just like that.
He didn't even call her by her preferred pronouns.
I actually like this part. I like this part of the movie though, because it's just not
good.
him just shooting the shit out of people with a rocket launcher or whatever. It's nice. It makes a nice change, and he did want to keep his acting as broad as possible in terms of action. He kind of got tired of
He's just go ahead, 70s.
Well, he kind of got tired eventually of the roundhouse kicking and all that stuff. He wanted to try and show he was a more rounded action star. You'll never be a well roundhouse kicked actor. Yeah, he would never be regarded as a well-rounded actor, but he wanted to try and put some different scenes in these movies. It's quite nice. It's quite good stuff.
You see him basically basically doing some spy movie stuff with all the
you know what you missed there? Mexican Iron Man was jumping out of the window just above him.
This movie was very formative for Mexican Iron Man.
Mexican Iron Man.
He was jumping out of the window just above him. You missed that.
Yeah, she's not
and
married.
then Chuck Norris is not even scared of electricity here, I guess, right? It just, it's a power line he's going across. I guess it's fully insulated or it's scared of him, but yeah.
That's right, yeah. Well, he's a very scientific guy, Chuck Norris. You know that he can divide by zero.
Chuck Norris is the science.
He can divide by zero.
And he actually found the last digit of pi as well. So
the last digit of pi.
He can watch 60 minutes in 20 minutes. He's that good.
Since 1940, since 1940, when Chuck Norris was born, the number of deaths by roundhouse kick has increased 13,000%
per year. Yeah. My favorite is
Norris.
No, my favorite. So go ahead, mate. No, you go ahead.
I was gonna say Chuck Norris can kick a fart back into an ass.
Oh, jeez. My favorite is Chuck Norris's calendar. It goes straight from March 31st to April 2nd because no one fools Chuck Norris.
Yeah, I've heard that one. Yeah, I've heard that one.
And I found out what Chuck Norris's favorite Chuck Norris fact is. What? They wanted to put Chuck Norris on Mount Rushmore, but the granite wasn't hard enough for his beard.
Wow.
That's true. When you talk about Mikey jumping out of windows, Chuck would jump into that window from the ground. So.
All right.
There
we go.
Yeah, right there. He's just like right off the bat. He just goes for it.
That time, I heard you coming.
Have you noticed in that clip when Tia Carrera says that? Do you see the big shit-eating grin on Dolph Lundgren's face?
Yes.
I wonder how many
let's. There's 40 of you in the chat. Just look at Dolph Lundgren again on that clip, and look at that big grin on his face.
That time, I heard you coming.
I wonder how many takes it took for them to do that, because they must have been pissing themselves laughing.
Yep.
Matt is gonna be so mad. He finds out you put him on a clip with a woman and not in bed with another man.
That's a great clip. That's the best. That's the best ever.
We're gonna use that as a background, I think. Yeah.
You should put him. You should put him on the woman. You should put him on the woman. That way, Chuck Norris could be in bed with Mad.
Yeah.
Oh man, you would
We can do that. We can do that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Never too late.
Asking you shall receive. Yep.
That's way it can be full man-on-man action. That way, these guys are like, oh shit, we walked into some gay shit. Fuck. All right, fine. We didn't see that there. Oh, how convenient. You've been here. You never left. That's right. How very convenient.
Well, it would be convenient for her. Yeah.
How does Dolph Lundgren appear? Office Girl, Dolph Lundgren has now become a part of every Toxic Tuesday since we covered Showdown Little Tokyo. It's
It's a great movie.
It's just basically required clipping now when it's
You have
part
the
of
right
Toxic
to
Tuesday.
remain dead.
Yeah.
Well,
Why Bangkok? Exactly. We've all been asking why Bangkok.
Why Bangkok?
Exactly. Oh, he kisses. See, there you go. He gets a bit smooching. He smooches.
Yes, and he has to go Bangkok.
Was that the well-hung airport in Thailand?
I don't know, but
that
all
the
I
name
know
of
is
it?
he let the woman to go Bangkok.
He did. In well-hung.
So in well hung.
He landed in well-hung.
Yeah, just one night in Bangkok. Oh man. Still wearing pants. Yep. We'll see. His pants hadn't come undone yet. That's easy, Tucker. I'm like, well, she hadn't gotten to my pants yet. I was working on it, bros. You guys were all cock blocking and shit. That's
Mhm.
easy. Yeah, way, way, way too easy. Oh man, this is one of the weirdest like areas of strip
Me so
club joints.
horny. Me so horny.
Hearing them cover these songs, I'm like, ooh,
Yeah.
boy, this is worse than karaoke. Some of these songs.
Chuck's looking for the lady boys because there's no woman that's capable of handling them.
I'm looking for a friend. Isn't everybody?
This is Thailand.
I like how this. If you notice, it shadows at his beard. Have you noticed that when they show him say at the time he's shadowed? You see his eye, but you don't see the beard. But obviously, you know the beard's there. But his beard is
Chuck
like,
Norris doesn't have a shadow. There's no shadow capable of being Chuck Norris's shadow.
Actually, Chuck Norris does have a shadow, but he once kicked it for following him too closely, so now it stays 15 feet behind him.
Right.
Oh damn, bro! This guy, breathing motherfucker here, thought he was gonna kill. Like, he really thought he had the audacity to surprise Chuck Norris by having a gun in his seat, being a taxi driver. Bro, who the fuck are you trying to fool? Seriously, Chuck, you were always going to lose to Chuck Norris, and somehow we went back to square one.
It went back to square. Oh, because I guess Chuck Norris just didn't approve of something we said. It went back. Let me start it again. Yeah.
We're sorry. I mean, maybe we are. I guess.
You know the boogeyman looks for Chuck Norris under his bed, right?
So she singing? She was singing "Do You Think I'm Sexy" there. I think it's.
Let's see where were we here. Let me find it. Yeah.
Is this a movie, Mark? Is this a movie about how bad NHL referees are? Missing infraction.
Missing infraction. Yeah.
That's a hockey joke.
Missing infraction.
That's about where we were, I think, in the movie.
Yeah, because they had all the really bad karaoke singers, and all the best voices were still really cringy, and the voices that were even worse were just absolutely unbearable.
This is where we're just about to come up to that really good scene in the car where he strangles the guy with a cordless phone.
Oh.
Yeah.
Subtle. That was a subtle one.
Fucking cordless phone. And he you know what? He doesn't even need to swing an axe. He just cuts out the portion and just boom.
Yep.
Just puts it right there. He's just like, who carries this big stick in the hand? Just take the stick off and then I got you. Now you're dead.
We mentioned Chuck. Somebody mentioned Chuck Norris in building a hospital he was born in. But you know, when he was born, he drove his mother home from the hospital.
Oh man, fucking Chuck Norris.
Here's another one. I've got a list of these. Chuck Norris's email address is gmail@chucknorris.com. I've never seen that one before. gmail@chucknorris.com. Voldemort refers to Chuck Norris as you know who. Sorry, there's thousands of these.
Oh, I know. It's amazing how many there absolutely are. It's what's
funny.
fantastic, though. Like, how the hell does this happen? Chuck Norris
Yeah.
wears a live rattlesnake as a condom.
So he's looking for some, Emmett Walsh here.
Yeah.
But isn't it also the same in just every one of the movies? He finds a similar guy. He's always looking for a guy just like that guy because he uses up the first one every time. They don't survive, but he has to find one just like them next time.
Look at him. The
Great
friend who
actor.
comes to have the friend who's like, you're gonna do this. No, I'm not. Okay, yes, I am. This is pretty much an example of a real life Chuck Norris friendship.
What a
When
great
Chuck
actor.
asks for something, you're gonna do it. That's all you're gonna do. Chuck Norris made Ellen DeGeneres straight. Oh, that's rough. Oh man. Ooh. That thing. Ooh.
Good actor, though.
Hey, Southern Belle.
Yeah,
Walsh
no,
was a great
Yeah.
actor.
Shout out to Southern Belle.
Blood
There
Simple.
she is.
What a great movie. Blood Simple. That's right. There we go.
There you go.
Now that looks right. That actually makes a lot of sense.
It's funny.
Man. That was very stunning and brave.
Very funny.
M16s, grenade, C4, LAW. He really thought he was just gonna, do this and then just be done with it. Nah, bro. It ain't like that. He needs more and more and more. You're gonna be his right hand man. Don't tell me nothing. Okay. Then how does he go from that? He's like, don't tell me nothing. Then I'd rather not know. Come on, bro. Make up your mind. Do you want to know everything or do you want to know nothing? Bro needs to get
I
together.
know nothing.
Come on,
I
Porter.
know nothing.
Come on, Porter. Come on.
I just like the fact that we almost have a scene here where Tuck looks at Chuck and he's like, I need that magic. Give me that Blade Runner magic.
It's interesting how Cannon did manage to get some highly rated, serious actors in some of their movies, Including guys like Walsh.
You were living at the time. How many of these actors were more higher profile or lesser higher?
Oh, I don't know if they were higher profile. I mean, Emmett Walsh had been in a couple of really good movies like Blood Simple, early Coen Brothers
wow,
movie, where
Blood
he's magnificent in that movie, and Blade Runner, of course. So I wouldn't say he was a bigger name than Chuck in any way, but they're respected character actors that have been in lots of artsy movies, And,
Yes.
So
Chuck, this guy got let off the hook easily. He could have talked him down to be broke, but he was generous and gave him $10K instead of the $20K. He was very generous. He's lucky he got off light. He could have said, "No, I'm just going to take this shit away with me for free." Just saying.
This is where Chuck makes a man come out of the closet. He's so powerful. He forces the guy out of the closet.
That's called gravity.
No man can resist Chuck. So
Carlos Ray Norris. That's
right.
No,
weird,
he'll always be Chuck.
Yep.
A diesel
He'll
mechanic
always
and a
be
darn
Chuck.
good one.
I
don't know if anyone ever gets that or not, but yeah.
Not sure. Remind me of
Well,
that one.
Well, there was at least in here in Indy, there were these commercials for this place called Lincoln Tech. And they're always looking for diesel mechanics, and he's like, "This is Chuck. He's a diesel mechanic and a darn
good one. Darn good one. Yeah.
That's in Melrose Park, dude. Lincoln Tech.
Well, yeah, they're in every city, I think.
Well,
Are they in every city?
Yeah, because we have one here.
You have one there? Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I went to Lincoln. It was a very corrupt school. Very corrupt.
Oh, yeah, for real.
Right outside of Chicago. But Chuck Norris being a diesel mechanic.
Would be a darn good one.
He would be. Oh, wow. Holy mad. Dude, what the shit was
That'd be like Mad's worst nightmare. Mad and two chicks. Whoa.
Yeah.
He'd be like, "What the hell?"
I do love this whole chase sequence. It's got some of the shittiest vehicles in history in it.
Yes.
Yeah, if you know what, that actually, I mean, not that this movie should be known for being grounded in reality anyway, but if there's any one way it does, it's that. Because it's usually when you have chase scenes, it's always a nice car, which don't get me wrong, it's cool because we like seeing nice cars go fast. But the fact that yes, it is a bunch of shithole vehicles, and the fact he's just knocking shit over to the water, that's another thing that would have to pitch forth because of all the polluting he's doing with the water. He's just knocking shit over left and right. No one would think about why he's trying to do all this. It's just like, but you're polluting.
Big time EPA violation there.
Yo, dude.
What EPA?
EPA, OSHA, any of the other useless three-letter companies, they would all be come after. Like, how dare you knock all this shit to the water?
I think it's great though that it is shitty vehicles, because it would be shitty vehicles at the time it's set in Thailand. I mean, there's not going to be a lot of down the docks in Thailand. There's going to be some really shitty
I was hoping a Lamborghini would show up.
Yeah,
you're not going to see a lot of Rolls Royces or Lamborghinis or Ferraris.
It's going to be Fast and Furious here. This is,
right.
Family.
Yeah, I like it.
Family.
It's all about family.
They are. Holy crap! They are bald, dude. Go back, Mark.
Yeah, they are bald. Yeah.
Holy shit!
Yeah, there ain't no trade there.
Damn.
No,
those
are
are
not pressed
super
pre-trip.
bald. Wow.
Hey, cheap tires for the stunt, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't tread on me. They're like, okay.
I mean, the way they negotiate for these vehicles for a Canon film. Listen, I just need like 7 or 8 vehicles. We're gonna do a chase scene, and none of them are gonna survive after the cameras are done rolling. Okay.
Yeah.
$800. Take it or leave it.
Wow.
That includes a matching gas cap.
It's a great stunt, though. It's fun. Yeah.
Oh, it's a
that was practical stunts.
Yeah.
Chuck. All great practical stunts, which we miss so much in many movies. Not all of them, but many.
We're stunt rat when we need her.
Yeah.
That's that stunt that Norris just pulled where he sticks his arm. I don't know if you can see it. There's one quick flip. It's very fast in the film. There's a tire hanging on the edge of the pontoon. And Chuck swims to the pontoon and sticks his arm through the tire and holds on with one arm, and it swings him up onto the pontoon. The SEALs use that as a means of getting swimmers back into their inflatable boats. The one guy on the boat holds out a ring, and the swimmer puts his arm through it, and he's swung into the boat with it. So that is actually the only way he was going to get aboard that boat, with it going flat out. Not that it was going that fast, but I thought that was a cute trick that they pulled there. Oh yeah, it's now an artificial reef protected by Greenpeace.
One of the things about this being filmed in the Philippines, they actually had a lot of the crew that had been on Apocalypse Now, and even some of the same location shots. So the Philippines crew were a big part of this movie, looking so good and coming in so slickly and being, made pretty well, because they were very experienced crew. Lots of movies were getting made there, and a lot of them had, as I say, worked on Apocalypse Now. So this movie got made pretty well, without too. I mean, there was some. I think somebody might have died. I'm not sure. There might have been a couple of deaths, but in terms of filming it, they were pretty. The crew knew what they were doing, so it worked.
It's a good-looking movie too. I mean,
yeah. It's
it looks great on my Blu-ray. Granted, I know the Blu-ray is probably updated, but I'm just saying, for those out there who are looking for this, you can get this accessibly, and it still looks great. Like watching on here, dude, it looks freaking awesome. Watch, I'm like, hot damn, this movie still, and this is
it does
Blu-ray,
look good,
of course.
Yeah,
Blu-ray. It's damn. You get the point, though. You get the point. This is available, and for those who cannot get to a store, if you got some at Amazon, it is there on Amazon. But
just go ahead and put your Amazon affiliate link in the chat there, Nick. Let everybody buy it.
You should get
Yep,
an Amazon affiliate link.
I will do the Amazon affiliate link. That way people can get a hold of it. Okay. I'll send them the missing in action. Okay. It's got director's commentary too, because I know we have special
love those,
features geeks here. There's not too many things. There's a bunch of shows for Canon Films, and they talk with Bruner as well. So you do get a little bit of something there. So yes, I will definitely absolutely post that in the private. So
that's something that I miss.
Regular
is like
chat.
That's something I legit miss. Is like when I growing up and watching all the movies, like movies that we had purchased had all the different previews. So like you got to you knew what previews were coming on, and then like when you had like a dub movie, like you recorded off TV, you'd have all the commercials memorized. I don't have like that's something that's like kids nowadays would never understand.
Yeah, it was kind of fun to go back to look up some of my old tapes and got all the old commercials for. Like if I watch a Star Trek tape from like 1994, you know, it's like
sometimes the commercials are pretty good. You know,
they're fun to watch now. Yeah, of course the picture looks horrible because it's VHS, but yeah.
You know that we go back to that ages ago. I forgot this. The wire scene that he did. Chuck Norris actually did that wire scene in the crawling across the wire. He did that. Apparently, he wasn't a stunt guy. He did it.
Wow.
So he did do a lot of stuff himself.
There you go, guys. For those who want it, Missing in Action right there on Blu-ray at the link. And if you want to do DVD or whatever, that's there too. And I think there's even some places that still have it used on VHS. If you're a VHS guy, we'll just say
I occasionally still buy VHSs, like collectible ones. You know, I don't have a VHS player, but they look good on the shelf.
Which ones do you get? Like what?
Oh god! Like most recently, I got Raiders of the Lost Ark. Pristine, like 99 cents, but practically unplayed. I've got all the original Star Wars OG VHS.
No, that is one thing to own on VHS is the original untouched Star Wars movies.
That's Star Trek.
That's the last time you could get that. Yep.
There's the Star Trek. 5 movie set on VHS.
That's beautiful.
Oh, it's unopened.
Unopened.
God, I wanted that. I have it now, but yeah.
The box is a little bit scuffed, but some of the tapes have never been opened. So
that was expensive back in the day.
Yeah, stuff like that. I always look out for the collectible stuff. You know?
We go to yard sales every Friday now, and like you can't go to a yard sale anymore without seeing like VHS or DVDs. Sometimes it gets given away for free.
99 cents, 2 VHS Lost World, Jurassic Park Lost World set.
I actually had that one when I was a kid. I remember that.
And it's in pristine conditions. Stuff like that.
Oh, look at that.
Well, you know, they're selling graded stuff at auction now. VHS tapes, games, you know, that have been unopened. And they're so that's a collectible now too if it's in great shape, depending on the movie.
Because I've also got as well as Lost World, I've got the original Jurassic Park VHS set as well. Beautiful 99 cents.
Look at the shine on that. Beautiful. Look at the shine.
Yeah, worth buying if it's a movie, a great movie like that. It's worth buying.
Soul Assassin, he says which box set? I think that's the one of the 1997.
Yeah, that's 97 release.
THX
release. The laser disc or the VHS? Laser disc or VHS?
I thought
which one?
VHS.
Well, because laser disc, there's a black box laser disc. You can still get on eBay for not that expensive, like $50-$60. Trilogy set.
There's the Braveheart. Braveheart.
Oh, dude, I remember that. Here, let me zoom in on your screen again. I remember
2 VHS.
That. Yes, I remember that when he had the movies on 2 tapes. Yeah, that was a thing. I remember that. Hot damn, dude.
Yeah, so the laser disc. There's a laser disc trilogy that you can still get. Not that it's not that expensive, which is great, and it's a great display piece. And of course, the last box set that came out in '95. Pretty much everyone, you know, was around. Let me show a picture of that one. So that was that's this box set.
Yeah, that's the one I thought was for the 1997 release. Yeah, wasn't that the 97?
This was the last time it was unmolested. 95. If I'm
Oh, it's
Yeah,
95.
I
Okay,
don't.
I thought it was
95.
97.
Let's not. I've not got that one. I've just got the one with the plastic sleeve.
Yeah,
That's
sure.
it.
And then that
Also
later they
97.
can't. Then they had a later
Which
set with the.
unfortunately is That's
Oh,
the set I've got.
Around-
It's the THX
Nice,
one. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
this one here. Yep. So, which is really cool to have this set, and that was a lot. Sometimes I still watch that. Now you can get the.
But I do have that one too, the special
You can-
edition one.
Look
Both
at that.
also VHS. That's a VHS as
VHS.
well. That's
Yeah.
I
it.
remember that one. That's what I meant to say
Yeah.
at 97. They were called the special edition.
Yeah.
That's
So I've
what
got
they're
two
called.
versions
How
of
the
that. Yeah.
frick did I forget that? Damn.
That's the molested version.
Yeah, it's the
Yes,
molested
that
one.
was yes, that was one that was touched.
But
and
again,
felt
I got that
upon.
for like $1.99 or something. So it's worth buying. It was in perfect condition.
That one didn't consent to being groped. So maybe we should meet to Lucasfilm for that.
So here's the.
Show you what I got the
this
other
is
day.
the-
Sorry, Mark.
I just
the
want to
last,
show this. Yep. Oh, you go 70.
the last one. I got that Guns of Diablo.
Bronson.
Bronson.
Nice.
Dude, yes.
Sorry, Mark.
No, it's all good. Yeah, great stuff. Yep. So this is the widescreen Laserdisc trilogy edition. That this is the version that got dumped to one of the later Blu-rays, which is not a great copy, but this just would be great to have. And I think it's like you can probably get this for like $75, $80. Yeah, here's $76 on Fleabag. So and what I do sometimes is I'll buy these and put them in an album. Like Michael sells frames for albums. I'll put it in a frame and frame it on the wall. So that's a pretty fun set to have, and it's physical, and George Lucas can't change it. Yep.
Do you guys remember the HD DVDs that came out that were compatible with Microsoft's 360 Xbox?
No,
Yeah,
what was
I
that? It was like a
do not
special
remember.
format or something? Or
It was a special format, right as PlayStation 2 and Xbox 360, or PlayStation 2 and Xbox started going at it. You had Microsoft released their new format, which could read the HD DVDs. There's about 50 of those that were released, like the Miami Vice movie of 2005 or 6. It was right around that time that they were trying to do that format war between Blu-ray and HD, and Sony won this time with Blu-ray.
oh, that's right. Yeah. Now I remember. Yeah, I remember that war. Yep. I forgot that. Yeah, the Blu-ray and HD. Yeah, 100%.
That's
Yeah.
right.
So
Yep.
yep. Yeah, I lived through that. I should remember.
There's always
that.
a war,
Yeah.
and only one format usually wins out. Yeah.
And eventually, Blu-rays are going to go away, unfortunately, because the movie studios are going to want you to stream everything. But so eventually, I'm sure they're going to. I mean, in 20, 30 years, I hope I'm wrong, but they're going to make you download everything, and then they can just change the download like they did with the French Connection, so they can take out some scenes, or they could edit this movie and make it more PC, right?
Yeah. That was we should buy as much physical stuff as we can. I mean, I buy as much as I can afford these days.
Exactly.
I regret all the stuff I got rid of in the past.
Yeah, I mean, they
dude,
can
right?
Deeply.
they can force us to stream their new movies, but if you've already bought all the movies you want to own,
Yep.
and you have them, and the one that they'll then do is they'll start pressuring player manufacturers, like Sony will give up making Blu-ray and HD players in order to push streaming,
Yeah.
and
That's
players
what'll
will
happen,
become hard to
unfortunately.
find. Yeah, because if you've got a disc, what good is it except on your computer?
So my stepdad in his basement, he has a combined about 5,000 VHS and DVD. So like when he passes away, I'll like give them all to you guys.
He's got movies, you mean, or
Yeah.
Yep, all fill up. Yep.
Mark, you would hate me for this, but I had dozens of the original BBC Doctor Who, classic Doctor Who VHS.
On VHS, and you threw them out.
I threw them out.
Oh my God! I don't know you. Who are you?
Well, to be fair, I gave a lot of them away to charity.
Oh, as long as you
but-
gave them away. If you gave them away, yeah,
but now
that's
I'm
good.
like, what was I doing? Because they were
Yeah.
beautiful.
A good friend of mine, his dad, we called, we didn't know what Blockbuster was, but he would have been the equivalent of Blockbuster. He was a guy at UPS, and he actually invented the pad that you sign on UPS. He was the head engineer on that. So he did very well for himself, and he had lots of stock in UPS. And he had every Doctor Who, and so he would and Star Trek, and he loved sci-fi, so he would buy all these, and this is back when the tapes were like $80-$90 each.
Yeah,
and my friend's dad had this whole collection
I had
of
them
stuff, and it was
all
unbelievable.
from the
Unbelievable.
80s and 90s. I had them all the Doctor Who's, every new one that came out, all the classic stuff. And then I said, you know what? I'm going to go over all digital or DVD or whatever. Gave them all away. And now I'm
giving them.
Wow,
wish you had
kill
them,
myself now.
because the artwork on those covers is so great. Yeah,
Fantastic. Just fantastic. Yeah. Never anybody, no matter what your problem is with space or partners or whatever, saying get rid of that stuff, never get rid of that stuff.
Yeah,
Ever.
big mistake.
Get rid of nothing.
70s. You didn't happen to
almost-
give away, a Chuck Norris movie, I hope, right? Because Chuck Norris would not approve.
Might have had a couple.
You'd throw it out, right?
Might have had a couple of VHS. I threw them out. They kept coming back.
I love the
Anyway,
look of the
sidetrack.
scene right here.
Like
Yes.
Mr. Johnson's cat.
I do too. It's
Sidetrack.
prime. This is like the embodiment of Chuck Norris outfit. It's like
God.
I want to feel waking up, bandana, gigantic gun by my side, sweet looking green
These are the classic
camo
scenes.
shirt. I'm like, bro, this is the embodiment badass edge. I love how he does that thing where he comes out of the water almost like like that's like said from a video game.
It's awesome, isn't it?
Or how about we since we obviously went on a derailing with physical media, but when he first drops by and you see him light off a bomb and it shows the explosion go off like what 3 or 4 times, I was just like, dude, I laughed so hard.
It's such a badass boat he's on as well. I mean, just everything about it is badass. It's great.
I want that fucking boat.
Bulletproof
I know.
boat, yeah.
With
Kevlar
the
boat.
shark
It's got shark
motif.
design on it too.
Yeah,
I mean, come
Yeah.
on.
and there we go.
I don't know how bulletproof it would be towards rifle rounds, but we'll go with it because it's Chuck Norris's boat. Yeah.
There's no bullet would dare
Chuck
hit Chuck
Norris?
Norris.
Isn't there a scene where they fire a bunch of bullets at that thing and it just kind
Yeah.
of shrugs them off?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
but I mean, Kevlar vest is not going to stop a rifle round. So he's like,
No.
it's made out of the same material as your vest. It's, like,
It's
yeah,
Chuck Norris. Bullets don't touch him.
right?
Yeah.
So I got a question for the chat since we've been doing a little bit of trivia tonight. Since there's like subcategories for action movies. There's been like the Die Hard category. What category of action does Missing in Action fall under? Subcategory, remember, not official category, because we all know it's an action movie. But what subcategory does Missing in Action fall under?
Could you give us some examples?
Of
use
movies
it
that
in a
like
sentence.
it. Yes. We'll say John Wick. We will say Rambo.
So there's martial arts, there's military, there's
Well, there's a common theme between John Wick,
Look at
the
that shot.
Rambos of
Look
the
at that.
world. So connect the dots, if you will, like between all those movies I'm listing off, like because there's a lot of those there. Like I can't give away
you
the
can't say it,
answer.
but that is one of the most truly iconic shots
Yep.
in movie history, never mind action movie history. Chuck coming out of the water. Yeah.
They're laughing. Yeah.
They're laughing, yeah.
Chuck Norris category.
Chuck Norris guy. Yeah.
All right, I'll give about one more minute, and I'll budge and tell everybody, because there's another category of movies, and it's once again subcategory, and I feel like this one should have been obvious.
So sorry, I was trying to be serious. I know what you're looking for now.
Equalizer. No. I see Power Rescue, military action, which you could consider those But once again, what does this have to do with all the movies I just listed? Because think about it,
Revenge.
John Wick is not military, Die Hard isn't as well. And this is a very really unique specific category. Okay. One man army.
Oh. OMAC.
That wasn't what I was
Oh.
thinking. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, I got that. I
see?
got that just as you were saying it. I'm like, wait a minute, and you said it, and I'm like, oh shit, now it's nobody will believe me.
One Man Army,
Nobody
yeah.
will ever believe me.
Almost.
Oh, yeah,
John
I'd be
Wick's
honest.
almost there.
Yeah.
John Wick's almost there.
Oh
In
no,
some ways.
it's because he was a one man army. No,
Yeah.
but those are all those movies I listed are movies where it was one guy going in and fucking up as many dudes as possible. So yeah, the one man army subgenre.
Hmm.
I like it between like metal action movies have their own 800,000 subcategories as well.
Yeah, like
Yes.
people are mentioning
Yeah,
Commando, yeah.
Commando,
and
yes,
then and
Commando's
Rambo,
one man army.
Rambo.
And then he finds his buddies. Oh, that's nice. You guys are going home.
Punisher. In
Yeah.
Warzone,
Oh, dude, I
certainly.
didn't say all the especially Warzone.
Warzone, yeah. One Man Army.
Especially Warzone. Like there are two Punisher movies I'd consider it, but Warzone especially because that's like Death Wish 3 and on like I don't know, except one guy instead of a whole town. Because it's Punisher. He does the damage of a city on his own. We'll say that he does the damage of a city on his own.
Documentary.
Holy
Darth Vader says it's a documentary.
So,
Well
I missed
played,
that
sir. Well
comment.
played.
Oh,
well
no, I
played.
missed
That's
that
a good
one.
one.
so
Well
Nick,
played.
would you
said.
consider High Plains Drifter and Quigley Down Under to fall in that category?
That's a great.
I
a
have
great
not
question.
seen the first one.
I would say
You
High
haven't
Plains
seen
Drifter.
High Plains Drifter?
Definitely.
Down Under. Yes, to
Oh.
Down Under.
High Plains Drifter, definitely.
Yeah.
Then again, you could say that about Pale Rider too. I mean, I know he gets some help from the miners at the end, but he's pretty much a one man army.
Yep.
Oh, I love
Kurt
Pale
Russell
Rider.
and
Well,
Mm.
there's definitely elements of the supernatural to both of those Clint Eastwood movies, High Plains
Mm.
Drifter and Pale Rider.
Very much so. Yeah.
So yeah, there's always been arguments over what exactly his character represents. But I don't know. I just popped in my head when you were listing all those great action movies, and then I thought the one of my favorite Tom Selleck movies ever is the Quigley, and it's like who's on his side except a bunch of Paleolithic Aborigines with spear throwing sticks, and bows. I mean, he's it. He goes up against the British Army for crying out loud,
very
except at the very
underrated.
end.
Very underrated movie. That great villain.
Yeah.
Great
Oh
villain.
God, yes. Nobody plays a villain like
Alan Rickman.
Alan Rickman. Alan Rickman almost overacted
Finished
as
up.
much as he did in Robin Hood with that
He did.
movie.
And we got deleted scenes for $1.99. Direct Dono says, "Hail Nick, panel, and chat. What is the last thing you hear before Chuck Norris gives you a roundhouse kick? No one knows because dead men tell no tales." Thank you.
You can speculate a
Steven.
sonic boom, but whatever.
Right.
Oh man. Do we get to see our boy come out of the water like he's in a like he's Swamp Thing already? No, we're just about there. Dude.
Oh no,
it
we
was-
saw that.
No, we're past the.
I'm making a short clip of that as we speak right now. So
Okay,
Didn't I
cool.
do one?
you
Mark,
do,
in
but
that
it's like
folder?
30 seconds. So
All
I'm gonna-
right, sorry,
I just
yeah,
chopped
yeah.
out a good. No, it's all good. But I made a short and sweet one here. Let's upload
But this
that
is
now.
just great because it's non-stop action from the minute he hits the jungle there to the end of the movie. It's just action, action, action. It's beautiful.
And he fucks them up, man. And he kind of starts out quiet, sneaking, taking them a few 1 to 2 at a time. He builds his way up too. First, he's very sneaky his moves, and then all of a sudden he starts getting wilder and crazier and more violent as the kills go on. So it's like he's looping you up in a way. He's just like, all right, I'm gonna butter you up with the kills, and then it's gonna be fucking raw dogging till the end. Like this is probably in a weird Chuck Norris way. It's probably his most romantic film in that way. Because he could have went in there, just went with a bang for the kills, but he said no, I'm going to do a little protection on this one, and then we're going to take off the glove. So it was no glove, but all love.
Well, when they're going up river and they see the sand, there you go.
That's awesome.
They look hot, dude. They look turned on by that shit.
Yeah,
it looks beautiful. That as well. It looks beautiful.
It does.
Well, do you remember when they're going up river in the raft and at first they see a sampan come out of a canal ahead of them, so they pull over to the side. Then Chuck sees a patrol of like 3 or 4 guys go by in the woods, so he's like, stay here, and he goes off and he starts taking them out one by one, quietly, and he gets into a fight with the last 2 and. His buddy in the boat the raft is starting to get worried, so he shoots the guy who's the 4th one, and Chuck turns around, gives him this really hard look, and he's holding a rifle in his hands, and he still goes, "Sorry, won't happen again." And then the sampan turns back around, and Chuck has to blast them out of the water, and that's it. Okay, they know we're here now.
Chuck Norris can go. I've heard that.
Dribble
one.
a bowling ball.
Dribble a bowling ball. Yep, I've seen
I
that.
love Emmett Walsh. Dude's still kicking at 94 too.
I know.
Yeah. Holy shit, man, that's nuts.
He looked 94 even in this movie.
He's like John Carpenter. He's never looked like he ever spent a day in his 20s.
That's right, yeah.
Well, I've said many times about Ric Flair and Danny Trejo. They both have been 60 years old for the last 30 years each.
Right, yeah.
Apparently, these Hawaiian shirts, there was a few of them, and the director Zito ended up keeping them all and wore them to death for years afterwards because he loved them so much.
It's like Willie Nelson. He's looked the same age for as long as we've been alive.
That's right. Yeah.
There's a new documentary on Willie out now. Willie at 90. Yep.
Pardon?
Mhm.
That's what she said.
Phrasing. Lucky to get 45.
Phrasing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Phrasing.
Well, here we go. I left out the audio before, so let's do some more water.
You can't say you see that you don't feel anything. That's true romance right there.
The bit we missed
Right there,
there was that when Chuck was under the water, he actually killed and ate a crocodile before he came up.
Pure Americana.
He came out of that water wet for all of us.
Yeah.
Talk about
Sure,
a
yeah.
And he unleashed his load with that gun. He unleashed his load. Jeez, like, that was not. No, it's not. Definitely not.
I don't know who the cinematographer was for this movie, but the last third of the movie goes by so well. It looks so good. Last week we watched the Once Upon a Time in Mexico, and it's a sharp-looking movie. But this movie is so refreshing to watch because you can watch this movie and you know that they haven't altered anything. There's no crap CGI screwing up the landscape. There's nothing that gives you Uncanny Valley. It's just straight action set against a really good set. And you got Emmett Walsh in the last 10 minutes of this movie being the most badass old man that you're going to see for a few years until nobody comes out.
Yeah. The cinematographer was a friend of Zito's. It was a Brazilian guy. I can't really pronounce his name. Jose. It could be Jose. It's that A with the funny thing on top of it. Fernandez. But he actually did a lot of porn in his early career. So make of that what you will.
You got to pay your bills.
Yeah. He did Deep Throat. He did The Devil and Miss Jones. And then he went on to do the Friday the 13th movie that Zito did, the fourth one, I think. Might have been the fourth one. Can't
We should
remember.
do those first two for Toxic Tuesday.
Oh
But I
God,
mean, it's
yeah.
but
Mad
trying to
would be-
figure a way to just to have mad all over.
Just
all
be
of it.
mad everywhere. Yeah, we should actually do maybe The Devil and Miss Jones, which is quite a good movie.
The
That's
Mad
great.
Edition on Mad Barber Entertainment. I'm down for it.
But yeah,
if you did that on a Toxic Tuesday, the movie would last 9 minutes.
Yeah.
But it would be a hillaciously amazing 9 minutes.
Yeah, but as Bruce said, it looks fantastic. It really does.
It does. Yeah.
Yes, it does.
It's because they are actually trying to try to be as close to real with the movie as possible, despite how exaggerated things are. It's trying to make you feel like, yeah, this shit is all can happen. You want people to believe that this shit's going down, and you want to believe that Chuck Norris would go out and help a few bros out and do this shit, and seeing all this crazy shit that he could do with the gun and come out of the water wet fighting. That's the whole beauty of these movies. And I love how he breaks into a building fresh off the helicopter. He's breaking into the building, and all these bureaucrats are, no, we can't have them see this, that they're all alive. We can't have them see it. He just barges right in. That's a very Chuck way of doing this. He doesn't ask for permission. It's just he just goes for it. He just does it. And for everyone's he's exonerated of the war crime.
The only bit that's disappointing about the ending is that Chuck actually needed a helicopter. He could have just flown them out himself. I mean, why did he need a helicopter? It's Chuck Norris.
Yes, he did need, but we all
could have just flown out himself.
He wanted to prove that, hey, yeah, there were guys left behind. That's all he was trying to do, is prove a point. Now, if this ending came out today, they would have you shown what happens when he makes it home, what happens to the other guys. They would even somehow mention Ann Fitzgerald, even though we got her for 5 minutes as movie. They're like, oh, but what happened with her? We have to acknowledge what happened. There would be 5 endings to this movie.
You know what? If it was made today, mate, they would have the American government charging the POWs with war crimes and jailing them.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yes. Yeah. There wouldn't be a celebration. They would be, you guys are criminals. We hate you.
Yeah.
Well, they charge him for the rescue.
Yes, exactly.
Right. Good timing though on the ending here. We categorically deny there are any live POWs remaining in Vietnam, and then bang through the door.
In a sense, he might be right, because Chuck's just rescued them, so they're not. Well, actually, they're still in Vietnam, though, aren't they? They're still in.
They are. They're in Saigon.
Saigon.
The hell with them.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. It's Saigon. It'll always be Saigon.
Yeah.
Chuck Norris, right? But yeah, no, it's just that's it. He shows that we got them. Here they are, and then that's it. That's what's great. Like, it just boom. That's it.
Yeah, there's no exposition. No, how is everyone feeling? Let's talk in the hallway for a half hour.
Yeah.
Right? No.
Let's see how everyone felt
around it.
Yeah, there would be one more confrontation, but if it were made today, between Chuck and the senator.
In the post credits.
Yeah, it'd be an argument in the hallway between them, and Chuck would punch him right in the face.
Roundhouse kick.
Or roundhouse kick, yes.
And then there would have been a
spin-off. Nobody said before,
based on the guy who guy's face punched off. There would have been a prequel about what his life was like before his face.
There's Jean-Claude Van Damme's name right at the bottom.
Yeah,
there it is.
Yeah, J. Claude.
Now, Aaron Norris.
Bruce, you were going to say? No, you were going to say something, Bruce. Yeah.
Yeah. This movie is supposed to be kind of Chuck's way of saying goodbye to his brother Wyland, who died in Vietnam in 1970.
Oh, that's
yes.
right.
And this was something that was kind of near and dear to him, and he didn't want to have people come away from this movie or movie series with a nasty taste in his mouth. He wanted people to be upbeat, because at the time, we had Reaganomics going on, and we had all this patriotism being shoved down American propaganda system, which I do love at the time for the 80s, because you had movies like this and Uncommon Valor, Rambo, and for the kids, we had G.I. Joe and the rest of the Marvel Sunbow products which instilled a good sense of patriotism and, kind of protect your neighbor sort of mentality, try to help out and not be a dick. And I love the way that the 80s were. I know we had a negative Nancy in the chat earlier, and I had to keep myself out of the chat. I just wanted to eviscerate them. And I'm sorry if I feel that way for the rest of you, but I really love this movie. I think this is one of the best movies that Chuck ever did. And I know that sounds really lame because this movie is kind of bland, but it is a fun, endearing movie to watch. And if you remember the time back then, this movie perfectly surmises the mentality that enveloped the mid 80s, because it was after this you start seeing all the patches until they all come home. Remember the POWs? Remember all that?
Yes.
It's conventional in structure, Bruce. It's very conventional, but yet you have fun with a very predictable formula. You know what is you can kind of play out a play-by-play of what's going to play out and how it does, but you still have fun with seeing it all unfold.
Exactly.
This was
not going to make a Chuck Norris movie. Sorry, Richard.
That's right.
And they're not going to just have Chuck Norris be in a movie like this and not have him, bring his guys home. And obviously, as we talked about earlier, this was supposed to be the second movie of two, but they liked this one better and they did it all weird in reverse. But go ahead, Richard. Carry on.
I'm looking up Uncommon Valor. That was 83. So basically, it was at the same time. So that perhaps, but I know this is probably the first movie I remember seeing that treated U.S. soldiers from the Vietnam War in a way that was closer to what I remember seeing of portrayals of U.S. soldiers from World War II. This was the movie that wanted to just that argued directly against the crap that veterans got when they came home from Vietnam. This was you guys, there were heroes there was the message. And I mean, if you really want to see that, go watch the movie Mel Gibson starred in, which is We Were Soldiers. Yes.
That was a good one.
Based on a book called We Were Soldiers Once and Young, which is a fantastic book, with even more detail and background about that particular battle. But this was an early version of that. This was just when public opinion was starting to stop being so anti-military and start considering that maybe there was something good about the U.S. military. And this movie personified it.
Yeah, and it portrays these guys as fighting for each other as brothers.
Yes.
Brothers in arms. Yeah.
Forget politics, forget nation. They're fighting for each other. That's heroes. They are heroes fighting for each other. The brotherhood of these guys. That's what's great about it.
That's probably another thing that would have changed. What is the politics of it coming out? They're like, oh, well, we gotta listen to what the system says. If they say we can't go and get them, well, guess we gotta listen to them. That I feel like a lot like you're lacking loyalty and like that friendship, and it's not even just friendship, it's your extended family, because once you become part of these services, they become your family because you're around them all day, every day. You grow together, you see each other at your best, you see each other at your worst. And we have said this, I think it was on Heartbreak Ridge. These are the guys you give each other shit to, but they're also the first guys you'll help out when something comes up. And this movie goes back to that time where it felt like loyalty actually meant something. It was a lot more prominent. Maybe that's just, from what I've heard from before I was born, but it looks like from that time. I mean, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but it feels like at that time, loyalty actually meant something. It wasn't just a word that people use so loosely that doesn't have any substance to back it up. But I feel like there was actually some merit to it then.
It's loyalty to your comrade. It's important. I mean, it's like in Band of Brothers, even the name Band of Brothers. These guys don't fight you don't go into a battle fighting for ideals above, way up here, or even if necessarily a flag. You fight for the guys around you. You fight for your brothers. That's what this movie shows.
Yes.
And we've got a special clip here of someone doing just that.
That's because Mad saw a couple of women below him.
I was gonna say there must have been some naked women in that shack.
Yeah.
They shouldn't be in this movie. But yeah, that's
Gili Chow, it's a ways away, but it's eventually it's going to happen. It will. Where there's still so much to conquer, but yes, don't worry. First blood is inevitable. Patience, young Padawan.
Basic young Padawan. Yeah, we'll get there. Yeah, we've got. Are we gonna be the old folks home still doing Toxic Tuesday? I'll be like, nurse, get me my headphones. It's time for Toxic Tuesday. What'd you say?
Hard viewer, it's touching every time I see it scene. I just left my ass off. I was almost kind of bummed that it wasn't a dream because it feels like that's how Chuck Norris would jump in real life, or it's just like he's falling down on you. Another great moment he has where he put the grenade in back of his vehicle, and then when the guys pulled up right next to it, they bumped into it, and then the grenade falls over, then boom!
Boom.
I was like,
That was such a good act. I love what he did with that grenade.
yeah. Between that and the very first explosion, as soon as he arrives and he shoots at the first like little forest, and it shows they explode. How many times was it? Like 4 times? They show, dude. I was like, damn, now I see where Michael Bay got his freaking explosion fetish from. He must have been watching Missing in Action because you see it explode 4 times.
There's some great explosions in this movie, as they say. Yep.
And Aaron Norris is a stunt coordinator for, I believe, this and part 2. And for Braddock, he turns into the director of that movie.
Mm.
Yeah.
The Pinto fraud. Look at Chuck. What a man's man. And he was so in the movie he's 38 years old in the movie. I don't know if he was actually
38 in real life or
but in this movie,
Almost
no, because
checked more out,
Anne
yeah.
Anne refers to him that she said you're 38.
that's right, yep.
I'm trying to think. No, I'm trying to think. What year? I gotta look at his name real quick.
Almost Chuck Norris.
He would have been 42 when it was
1940.
made and 43 when it came out.
Yep.
Okay, so only 5 years off. Okay, so not bad.
No, not too far off.
Yeah. Wow.
And let's play that again, since why not?
You added Mad saying no. Now you need to add the shot of Mad sleeping with Chuck Norris.
Yeah.
Do that clip again, but with Mad sleeping with Chuck to complete it all the trifecta.
Add it together. Yeah. And he wakes up and he's in bed with Chuck. Oh, that's a good idea. Here, let me add that. Yeah.
Oh, dude, yeah.
Chuck Norris does something and Joe Biden falls up the stairs.
Well, he's getting that one going. Darius Munchausen for $3. And he gives the horns as a super sticker. Thank you, Darius. Cheers and horns up, buddy. Nice to see you here. Spider-Man, we meet again. Smoother than I expected. Yeah. Oh, hey, what's up, Southern Belle? For $2 says Chuck Norris is the GOAT. Well, facts. Southern Belle, you missed your boat here. It was literally called the Southern Belle. You missed your boat. You missed your ride. How do you miss your ride? You gotta go team up with Chuck now to go kill some bad guys. Oh, the internet can handle that much Mads and Chuck Norris. And I got 5 gentlemen on the panel who can agree. 5 gentlemen who agree.
I'm certainly not handling Mads. You never know where he's been.
But when Mad finally gets on a date with Chuck, he realizes that they got really close and he wants to get to know Chuck a little better. And then he took a little peek at Chuck.
You have the biggest dick I've ever seen on a man.
I got a little clip. Promise it's a little clip to share. Just a little one.
Just a little.
It's short. It's a short one. Yeah, it's short.
A little clip of something huge.
If you can hit that.
I have no idea, Anonymous. That's news to me. I have no idea about I have no idea of context on Van Damme in Russia. All I know is I love what he's done before. So, I don't know. I would need a lot of context because I know anyone in the world is willing to lie for just about anything.
Just reaching the right point for this clip I'm trying to share with you.
Oh, okay.
That's just you reached the right point in the stills for that one. That's where he smashes the TV.
Knows how to
Shocker.
play. Oh, shocker. Shocker.
Wasn't there a Spider-Man cartoon? It's the Spider-Man cartoon. Sorry.
It
Yeah.
was the Spidey and his Amazing
Yeah.
Friends one with
Yeah.
Firestar and Iceman.
Which is a
That's
neat,
what it
neat
was.
touch having that in there. I like that.
I remember kind of freaking out. I'm like, yes, Spider-Man cartoon. Yes. Because of course they did. I didn't realize at the time like there was a logistic for why they had it. To me, it was just I was a kid being happy that Spider-Man was there. And let's see what this is here. C-Force. Oh my, that's Chuck. Okay, let's take a look at that. Chuck Norris in the present day. I didn't know he was on Instagram. Now I have to follow him.
He
Just
must
because.
follow him.
You have to. I don't think you have a choice.
You know, I you're right. I don't, but here we go. There's Chuck right there. Yeah, he's age is definitely
Chuck
getting
Norris
there, but
he's the only guy that can make Instagram last for hours.
well, there is Chuck Norris cartoon. That's right. There is.
My
yes.
favorite Chuck Norris movie, and maybe gave me shit for this, but his Sidekicks. I don't give a shit what anybody says. The movie's amazing.
It's all right. Why would we give you shit?
I don't know, but because it's campy and cheesy, and I don't know, but I just love it.
And what we haven't been reviewing for the last several weeks and months has not been cheesy
That's
in any
right,
way. Yeah. I mean, we are the guys who abuse Showdown in Little Tokyo to death.
Yeah. I think you're acting like we're some kind of Art Nouveau film lovers.
Oh, this isn't Basquiat. I didn't know what was going on. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you've mistaken us for some other panel.
You have the right to be dead.
I've got a good one for you too.
Just the way he falls kills me every time.
Yeah. And here's the new version.
If Chuck woke up in bed with Mads, though, the clip I'm trying to share would be his reaction.
Okay, you got it.
Oh,
it's right there.
I lost my mind.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. Here we go.
Showed up in Dodgeball.
Hang on. Oh,
go ahead.
I clicked that. Oh,
this is for me.
That would be his reaction to Mads showing up in bed with him.
Earth shattering, in other words.
Okay, I saw Kate had a great comment here. I would love for Chuck Norris to deal with a comic skater to do a comic. I'm trying to think if I can imagine a comics. I'm trying to think which Indiegogo guy would do that. I would say probably Chuck Dixon because he actually did the Expendables comic book. I'd say he'd be a really good fit for it. Maybe Shane Davis because he knows fight scenes really well. And if you read his book Inglorious Rex, which was really fun, there's a lot of fights in that. I'd say, yeah, those would be probably Dixon or Davis would probably be the ideal guy in my mind to do that. Because let's not forget, Dixon had his Expendables comic book. That's how he got in touch with Sylvester Stallone because Sylvester read his Expendables comic and loved it and reached out to Dixon. So yeah, I'd say one of those guys would be best for it in my honest opinion. So anyways, yeah, that is Missing in Action. Kind of, sort of, one, but not. Yes, no, maybe so, but two. You decide, folks. You decide. But I want to see your scores of toxicity and greatness for this legendary Chuck Norris flick. That is absolutely bonkers and balls to the wall. It would make Except proud. All right, and we'll start off with the panel here. We'll start off with Dustin to give off his missing in action thoughts?
I don't know. So, like I said in the beginning, like when I was a kid, these movies would be on like Saturday, Sunday afternoons, and I'd watch them. But I don't remember this one as much as I remember. I'm guessing 2, I guess, or whatever it was. So this was, I guess, the first time ever seeing this one. But I think as far as toxicity goes, I think the idea that a movie like this had to be made to showcase the fact that there was POWs probably still never got to leave. Vietnam, I think the toxicity is pretty high there. A little probably more serious, but so I'd probably say like a 10 out of 10 for toxicity, just based on that alone. And then I think greatest would be like a 9.
Okay. All right. How about them apples? Bruce.
I'm going to say that this movie was part of my childhood because you could go on Saturdays on USA Network. We didn't have cable till like 1989, but if you were home on a Saturday, you could watch this movie on USA Network at some point, and they would have it on. It felt like it was one of the regular movies that would be shown. And so watching this just kind of gives me kind of, oh yeah, I remember watching this, seeing parts of this as a kid. I see it for the first time all the way through, like just yesterday. Great film, amazing film. And it's a great film. It looks good. It has good dialogue. It's not quote unquote the smartest movie of all time, but there's a lot of parts of this movie that are very grunterific, like the entire hand grenade gag on the Jeep. There's a lot of things in this movie that it kind of echoes. And so the mind of a person that's gone through loss, and you find out more in Braddock Part 2. So the grenade, him jumping off that scene with the 2 grenades, one in each hand, that kind of makes a little bit more sense in context of Part 2. So I would say toxicity, this movie is probably in the 90s, probably in 93, for example. Yeah. And as far as greatness is concerned, this movie suffers from a lack of a budget, but they make up for it with great cinematography, good action scenes. Chuck Norris can deliver action. He's probably not the best actor in Hollywood, nor will he ever be mistaken for one. But for what they queued him up to do for Canon Films, I'm looking forward to being a part of this panel and discussing it because I'm enjoying the hell out of these 2-hour snippets watching these amazing movies. And this movie is great. I'm going to give it a 79 out of 100. Thank you.
Oh, I like that score. Very specific. Thank you, Bruce. Appreciate that, sir. 70s.
Well. What can you say about this? I think this. I love action movies, and I love this. I love action movies that don't mess about, and I like the ones that get to the point. And this movie is one of those. There's no extra fatty material in it. There's no padding. It's tight. It gets in and out and does what it's supposed to do. I like the fact that it addresses the issue we've talked about this throughout the show of these guys that went to Vietnam and what happened to them. It's particularly in the third act is just non-stop action, and it's quality action with great practical effects. Chuck is, nobody would ever claim Chuck is the greatest actor in the world, but when it comes to this stuff, he absolutely knows what he's doing and he looks the part. It does feature some great iconic scenes. And as you know, I'm a big lover of Canon movies anyway. We did a great show on this, the whole Missing in Action series a while back. So this is right in my wheelhouse. I absolutely love this. I would say that Invasion USA that we're going to cover is possibly slightly better as a movie, but it still doesn't mean this isn't great. So in terms of toxicity, I'd give it 1,000 roundhouse kicks out of 10. It's it features a lot of stuff that in today's terms we might get great action now, but there's things that people found objectionable in this, so therefore I love it. So yeah, but 1,000 Roundhouse Kicks is probably my score there. And in terms of greatness, I'd say 9.5 out of 10. It stands out very well, looks great. There's no boredom in this movie. It's full on from start to finish. If you've never seen it, you are missing in action. So go watch it.
Oh, that was good. Oh, wow, well said. All right, I'm gonna hammer through some of these scores here. Kitty Chow, Toxicity overall 10-10. Corbin Dallas, how you doing, Corbin? 10-10. I see no toxicity. Fat Elvis, greatest 10, toxicity 7. Josh Post, greatness and toxicity, greatness 10, toxicity 8. Darth Viewer, greatness 9 out of 10, roundhouses. Southern Belle, score 10, toxicity none, because nothing toxic can share a screen with Chuck. Ooh, wow. That's a good take. Action Com, 8 out of 10, Chuck Norris tears. Too bad he doesn't cry. Toxicity, 9 out of 10, grenades. Greatness, 10. Toxic, 9. Almost no women, 10 mads. TZ Burton. Oh, yeah, that's a big one. The no women. That I'm sure that alone gets points for mad. I'm sure he probably takes a point out just for that TT bit that there is a lady in that. So yes, Chuck does both. She's a all right. And who did I miss here? Mark.
Yeah. Oh yeah, love this movie, Chuck. If you're listening, yeah, I don't want to say anything bad about this movie as I joked before, but yeah, it's a simple movie, but that doesn't mean it's anyway takes away from them. It's straightforward. Hey, let's save our buddies here. You could imagine if you had a family member or someone that's missing in action, you'd want to find out what happened to him either way. So I think like you said, Chuck is maybe he's not winning Academy Awards, but that doesn't mean you can't love him any less. And he makes sense as this physical action hero, right? Because he kicks ass. He's karate expert, and he fits that role as a badass. So you can kind of picture him going, and it's maybe not so realistic, but if anyone could do it, Chuck Norris could. So that's what I love about this movie. And what I also like too is it's starting that trend of back then, as we discussed, about respecting those people that fought in Vietnam, and whether you come down on the either side of that war, or approve, disapprove, doesn't matter. At least the troops deserve respect who served honorably there. So this was kind of the start of that. It's the middle of the Reagan Revolution, where everyone's much more patriotic, because the 70s was a unmitigated disaster. The hostage crisis, you had the failed rescue attempt, those hostages in Iran, and inflation, fuel prices were crazy, costs of everything was going nuts, unemployment. And then you had Reagan come in with Reaganomics, and people made fun of that, but it did work, and we're still basically operating under that same tax rate system now as you did, because at the start of that decade the tax rate was 90% in some places. So of course, I don't want to get derailed too much into the political aspect of it, but needless to say, Reagan inspired a lot of confidence back in our country and made people really want to love their country again, be proud of our country. And then 86, we had the Statue of Liberty. I remember celebration there. I got to see Reagan there. So it's just a huge turnaround from the 70s. So I think this movie encapsulates a lot of those feelings, and that's what's good about it, because it doesn't trivialize the action and what it's trying to do and save. Chuck is there rescuing his brother, so it's the action is fun, but it's not goofy, silly action. It's well done, well filmed, and that scene coming out of the water is one of the all-time classic kick-ass scenes. So I give this 9 out of 10. It's an A. Toxicity, I mean, the villains are toxic, of course, but and Chuck is, of course, today, I guess, if you look at it, what a badass he is. So give it like a 7 in toxicity. When he goes to jump in the bed with the diplomat, right? Maybe not, he wouldn't score so many woke points these days with an action like that, but he had to do it, right, to save his buddy. So someone had to do that. So it was all for a good cause, Chuck. So I understand why you did it. But it's a really, really good movie. If you haven't seen it, watch this whole series of movies, and I'm sure we're going to do some similar movies down the road, or Uncommon Valor, I think is one maybe we could do too. So, but stay tuned there'll be plenty of Chuck on Toxic Tuesday in the future. So, and I got to finally see what happened in Invasion USA. So, looking forward to that. I should have drank Chuck water instead of vodka before that movie.
So is Johnny Rico Chuck Norris's son out of Starship Troopers?
Oh, Johnny Rico?
He's sleeping with Chuck Norris is sleeping with his mom in this movie.
Great theory.
Oh.
Great theory. I like how you're thinking there. Yes.
Chuck Eved Speedy. All right. Well said, Mark.
Might have been his
Right.
great-great-grandfather, because I don't think that Starship Troopers happened in the 80s.
No.
Right.
So we're gonna hammer off these last fews, and then we're gonna hand it off to Red Shirt as well. Deleted scenes, greatness 8, toxicity 6, inverse opinion 9, greatness 7, toxicity. RJ Godzilla 81, 6.8 out of 10 for greatness. I can't grade toxicity, all depends on what you consider toxic. Rob Altus, toxicity 9, greatness 9, Soul Assassin, total Chuckicity film from Soul Assassin. Thank you, Soul. Red Shirt.
Yeah. So let's see. Let's start with toxicity. We have, there aren't that many women in the film, but something like almost a third of them are wandering around naked in a whorehouse or a bar whorehouse, and there's a lot of gratuitous nudity in that scene. They don't just show you the dancers; they do. Then they show you the two principals sitting at a table, and two naked women walk between the camera and them, just because they're there. The Vietnamese.
Whenever they enter a bar in a movie, I'm like, oh no, this is gonna be more work.
Yeah. The Vietnamese are just such villains. I mean, we get backstory on why, especially the bearded one, that Chuck hates him and why they hate each other. A State Department hottie that he, basically jumps into bed with to give himself an alibi. He didn't ask for, he didn't get consent for that. Let's see. The colonialism aspect of this. I mean, they're pointing out, this is a country where we tried to help one side defeat the other side, didn't work, and we're not apologizing for it in this movie. The people in the Vietnamese people who denounced Chuck in the hearing won't look him in the eye, and he says to one, "I understand." He's telling him it's okay. I understand why you're doing
that
this.
Person, don't you think? I think he knew that person, maybe.
Exactly. I think he did know at least one of them for real, and the others wouldn't look him in the eye at all. But he's not holding it against them. And this is where this movie started a trend. Well, first of all, I found a few while you guys were doing this. Uncommon Valor was 83. Missing in Action is 84. They're both POW rescue movies. But they started a trend, especially this one, that went through movies like Heartbreak Ridge and Bat 21, where in Heartbreak Ridge, they even made a point of saying we're 0-1-1. No wins, one loss, Vietnam, one tie, Korea. And at the end of the movie, he says, I guess we're not 0-1-1 anymore, H-huge. So this is a change in the attitude towards the military, not towards the Vietnam War per se, but definitely under the Reagan years, after the Carter years, as Mark so elegantly pointed out, this movie was a leader of Hollywood deciding that maybe it wasn't the guys on the ground that got slandered when they got home. It was bad leadership, poor planning. It was the wrong war in the wrong place for the wrong reasons, whatever you want to call it. And that's still being argued to this day. Trust me, I've read about it in my study of military history. And this is the ugliest, nastiest, most complicated war that I think the United States has ever stepped foot in. And I don't want to get to that. I just want to point out this marked a change in Hollywood and the public's perception of the U.S. military, the ordinary soldiers. And this movie says the ordinary soldiers were good guys and they deserve rescuing. They deserve saving. We should go find them. And so that's on the greatness side of this movie. This movie really hit a nerve at a particular point in time, and it really got it, in my opinion, got it absolutely 100% right. So for Toxicity, the intersectional feminists are going to hate this movie for the Thai hookers. So this one gets an 8.5 in Toxicity, and for greatness, I'm going to give this one a 9.0. This one hit the right note at the right time. And it's a hell of a lot of fun to watch.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I cannot grade this film from Phantom Outside because no human can assign a number to Chuck Norris without dire consequences. If Chuck Norris finds out. Thank you, Phantom Outsider, for that. Thank you. So for me, I'm gonna go the 8.4 in greatness. Chuck Norris obviously kicking ass and action great. I love how once again ridiculous the jump is. Him coming out of the water like he's Swamp Thing. So you got a lot of memorable shots, a lot of great action sequences, and once again he lubes you up. Once he gets to the final battle, he kind of takes the guys one by one, kills them a little nicely, and then he just gets bigger and better and crazier as the kills goes on for the final battle. So absolutely fun and very straightforward story. It's it's once again a very conventional structure. You know the formula, you can kind of spell it out, but you have fun with it and roll with it anyway. And whether you want to consider it the first movie or second movie doesn't matter because on its own merits, you can even pretend that the first movie doesn't exist. If you walked into this just with this, you'd have fun with it on its own merits. It really does stand on its own 2 feet that well. So, yeah, I had so much fun rewatching this again, and just seeing Chuck Norris go on kicking ass is always a delight. And you really do feel the testosterone rising when you're watching Norris kick asses as Colonel Braddock. I mean, he has some really underrated lines in this one. He really does, because there's some really great quotes. I'm like, damn. They're like, this shit should be up there, with some of the more memorable stuff. Like when he was saying, for your war crimes, there's for killing assholes like you. I'm like, damn, that's damn good. Really? How we miss or the do mine? I'm a bit shy. We had some really good lines, or the goddamn embarrassment. That's why I'm here. I'm like, man, we had some good one-liners in this movie. I really love the lines in this one, and of course the music. Like I said early on the show, this is like a hunter versus hunted soundtrack to me. It feels like the soundtrack if I was definitely out in the wild on the loose. This is what it'd be like for me. This is exactly how it sounds. So the music definitely nails the setting of this movie. So shout out on the music. So absolutely fantastic movie. Toxicity, I mean, God. Chuck Norris alone, what he did with the lady. That sneaking right back into a house should just speak bonkers about everything. Also, the setting of Thailand will definitely get a lot of pitchforks and knee-jerk reactions under today's circumstance. And also, Chuck Norris being Chuck Norris, that's considered bad too, especially after we saw Russell Crowe's interviewed drinker. They don't want that in today's movie. So I would probably go with a straight 8 for Toxicity. Straight 8. So, yeah. 8.5, 8 over here for Toxicity. So, yeah. And that's the way the cookie crumbled with missing in action, 1 or 2, however you want to perceive of that. So, as we all know, next week's week 2 of the Chuck Norris-a-thon, and we're talking The Hitman. And for those of you who somehow have not seen The Hitman, which you should be changing, seriously, I don't know why you haven't watched it, but you should. Just think early 90s Chuck Norris with a fucking mullet.
Oh, that's not just any mullet, though. It's Chuck Norris's mullet.
The Chuck mullet.
Chuck mullet.
Yeah.
But didn't he have a mullet in Walker, Texas Ranger, or am I just making that up?
I don't recall him having a mole.
He had
in
long
Walker,
hair in
but
that
maybe
one.
I'm
He had
wrong.
long hair
though.
though. He did have long hair.
Yes, you did.
Depends
This
how
is
you
Chuck
qualify
in
a mullet.
and he's got some great one-liners in this one, like really on the nose. There's some really on the nose ones in this one. So if you somehow haven't seen it, you got homework, and you know what? It's fucking worth it. So with that was Toxic Tuesday episode 92 with Missing in Action. Shout out to our guys here for making funny photos. Mark with the funny photos as well. To the super chatters, thank you. And for all the frequent toxicity supporters, I'm glad you all came here and had fun with us. And I look forward to doing this plenty more times. And to the newcomers, I hope you like what you saw. And I hope you come. I hope you come a lot and come back for more and come again. So next week, The Hitman. And on my channel, Comic Shop Talk Friday night will happen. I'll have a video out again this week. You can find me with Comics Division and Midnight's Edge After Dark as well. And on our way out, we'll let these gentlemen plug their plugs out, because on this panel, we only know one way of plugging, and we acknowledge said plugs by letting us know that
You have the biggest dick I've ever seen on a man.
Plug it long and plug it hard.
Long, hard, and strong, huge style. So, all right. Red Shirt, I know you don't got a channel, but you have stuff that you appear on. So let's acknowledge said thing.
Yes. On Friday evenings, I'm almost always on the MR for Roadhouse on the Jed Revenwolf channel. He varies a bit sometimes, but it's usually sometime between 8 and 9 p.m. Central. And then I'm going to be back here for next Tuesday's Toxic Tuesday. Looking forward to it. And thank you as always, Nick. It's always a pleasure to be here.
Well, thank you, sir. Always glad to have you. Dustin.
Keto Simple is my channel. I just hit 3,500 subscribers.
Woo!
So I appreciate every single one of you that subscribe and watch my content. It means the world to me. Now subscribe to everybody. Let's get everybody up there. Just keep a lookout. I've got content coming. I've been slacking off last week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. I've got content and partially edited and filmed and all that stuff. So just be on the lookout for that. And you can catch me here, and I'm hanging out with Brian on his channel and, well, his kind of 2 channels that he's got. So, and he'll tell you more about that fun stuff too. But I hang out with Brian and over here and all that fun shit.
All right. Excellent. And thank you, Darius. I see you plug in the channels. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Dustin, thank you. Red Shirt, thank you as well. Mark.
Yeah. Well, I just had a birthday / Father's Day, so I always get combined gifts. So
Merry Birthmas.
So if you want to check out my channel for toys and fun stuff like this, so I got this cool DC Super Friends, Joker, perfect toy for a kid, right? And my kids also got me this. I'm gonna hopefully do an unboxing and put together this tomorrow. So this would have been perfect for our Toxic Tuesday when we did Goldfinger. So I'm gonna have that on my channel. So check that out. I'm on Sunday Night Geekery, my big show. We hang out and talk about the events of the week, and a lot of times we end up talking about food too. So I just got a big green egg, so I was cooking pizza over the weekend, so we're showing that off. So how to cook pizza on the grill. So you never know what you're gonna get on my channel, but it's always a lot of fun hanging out with you guys. And Thursday night I'm also on the Clubhouse with Club and Raquel Briggs, and we talk UFO, Star Trek, sci-fi shows, that kind of thing. So a lot of fun hanging out there. So check out the channel if you're interested in that stuff, and make sure you sub to everyone here. And congrats to Dusty, 3,500. That's awesome. So way to go. Not easy to get subs and keep them happy. So nice job. Yep. So thank you, Nick. And hopefully we'll get any opportunities for Mad in the Hitman. I don't know. I can't remember that one. Does he visit any strip clubs in that movie?
He's only up for Chuck's bed, dude. His heart's with one man.
Yep.
That's with Chuck.
That's with Chuck. Yep. So yeah, can never get. You can tell people that's why I learned Adobe Premiere was to be able to do stuff like that. Yeah, not for a job, just like, are you good at Premiere? Like, yeah, let me show you some of my work. But thanks, Nick, and thanks everyone on the panel. You guys are awesome to hang out with each week. A lot of fun.
All right, no, Mark, thank you as always for your services, sir. You're absolutely killing it, and I am grateful, and the panel and the chat, we're all grateful for what you do to make this show what greatness it is. That is all thanks to you, my friend.
You're welcome. You're welcome. We always have fun doing this. Yep.
70s.
Yeah, thanks to Mark for doing all the work he does for Toxic Tuesday. It is an incredible amount of work prepping for this
Thank
stuff.
you, guys. Yep.
And congratulations on everything that's happening in your channel, Mark. I'm going to make you blush, but it's great to see. It's all about the personality, and you've got such a lovely personality that you deserve all the success you can get, mate. So
thank you. Appreciate
well
it.
done to you. I always enjoy watching your show and coming onto your show when I get the chance. Yes, I know. Hug it out. So yeah. As for my good self, well, yeah, Dustin and Nick were with me yesterday when we had a fantastic show with Graham Bonnet and his wonderful bass player and partner Bethany joined us. What lovely guy! What a fantastic guy! Just brilliant. We had a great show. So please go back and take a look at that if you didn't see it. It's a lot of laughs, and we only covered some of his career really. So much more we could have done, but I'm sure he'll be back for round 2. I certainly hope so. Yeah, so the lots of stuff happening here. I should mention, by the way, for doing the Hitman, it features a Canadian legend called Bruno Gerussi is in this movie, and that man is a legendary Canadian actor who even had a band named after him in Canada called Bruno Gerussi's Medallion. So how much more awesome can you get than have a band naming themselves after you? But
yeah, right.
So I'll save all that for the show, I guess, all that stuff. But yeah, so next Monday on my It's Only Talk and Roll, we've got a guy called Kevin Harrington is the guest, and he was Beatles roadie. He was the roadie for the Beatles from the White Album onwards.
Oh, wow.
You will see him in Let It Be and Peter Jackson's Get Back very often. He's a red-headed kid. He was like 18 or 19. You'll see him wandering about the studio, getting cups of tea and setting up the amps and stuff. So Kevin is going to guest on the show. He also, as well as all his work for the Beatles and then later George Harrison, he was a roadie for the likes of the Rolling Stones and Derek and the Dominoes. But later in his career, road managed for Judas Priest and Motorhead as well. So
nice.
Kevin's got
When's the show?
Monday, 3 p.m. on that 70s rock fan.
Oh, I'm there for that one.
Yeah,
I don't care about work that day.
Dude, Rob, check out his channel.
You need to check out the Green Bonnet show. Yeah. We're also, so Kevin's going to be a fantastic guest. Really looking forward to that. I mean, that's once again, these roadies that were there when it was all happening. It's just incredible. Also working on the next Canon Film Club, which will be on the July the 10th, and that will be Cyborg. I'm going to do a bit of Jean-Claude Van Damme. So that will be great fun. But you'll also catch me on various other shows, Midnight's Edge After Dark, Culture After Dark on Culture Casino's channel. And on Thursday morning, I do have a show on Pop Culture Minefield, Morning Coffee with Brian. Haven't really started prepping for it yet, but I'm inclined to have a chat about Squid Game and Squid Game 2, which there have been a couple of teaser trailers dropped for and some cast announcements. And I'm huge into the Korean stuff, so I'll probably talk about that and then some other Korean things I've been watching. Bloodhounds, currently on Netflix. fucking awesome show, Korean show. It's right now on Netflix called Bloodhounds. 8 episodes. It's brilliant. Pretty brutal, actually. Kind of brutal show in terms of action and violence, but more so than I thought when I started watching it. And I thought, oh my god, this is pretty heavy. So, yeah, working on and a few other ideas too for shows. So lots to come. Thank you for your support, everybody on here, and thank you everybody in the chat for your support. Appreciate it.
I heard there were complaints about the Squid Game. They said there were not enough women in the new season. Was that
there's no women?
Was Matt a producer on the show?
I did say Mad special. What's the word? Advisor, special advisor, Mad Martigan. Apparently, well, if you watch the cast announcement trailer, there are no women in it.
Hey,
make of that what you will.
You just need a whole load of men doing this,
but
and it's all good.
I know is that the male actors in it are kick-ass, and it's got a great cast. Certainly features some of my favorite actors in Korean actors. So, especially the mighty Lee Byung-hun, who was the front man, plays the part front man. So he's because they can only put people in it that didn't die in the last seasons, so it's pretty tricky, you know.
Yeah,
and I think virtually all the women characters died. So. I was like, there's going to be some women in the games if they're going to do the games again. So. Anyway, I'll be talking about some more Korean stuff on Thursday morning. Pop Culture Minefield. Check it out now.
All right, dude. Thank you as always, my friend. Let's do this, guys. Let's play our intro or outro for the outro. Once again, guys, thank you for supporting Toxic Tuesday. Next week, The Hitman. It's going to be long, hard, and strong. If you haven't watched it, fucking fix that shit because it's Chuck Norris with a damn mullet.
I'd like to show you something.
The pace when I'm running, I always take what I want and I always give it 100. Don't need a bank, no I'm funded. Play the game like it's nothing. I'm always thankful for something. Don't take for granted, stay humble. Now wake up! It's time to look at the enemy. Look in the mirror if he is no friend to me. It's not working out, maybe it's the chemistry. It's time to break up so I can make a better me. Better believe in your mind, cause it's everything. You can mold, shape, find almost anything. All it takes is some time and some clarity to find your identity. It's mind over everything. And when I feel like this, I'm immortal. When I feel like this, I'm immortal. When I feel like this, I'm immortal. When I feel like this, I'm
You got to ask yourself one question. Do I feel lucky?
You're still here? It's over. Go home.